Hey, anyone know what channel the game's on? We know. Download the Sports on What app today and always know how to watch the game. Satellite, cable, or streaming. Sports on What knows the channel the game is on, and you can too. Subscribe today to start your 7-day free trial. Sports on What? We know.
And now, here's the question.
Hola, bitches. Good day to you and yours. All right, if you are alive, you have injured yourself or been injured. It's an unavoidable fact of life, and it starts in childhood, continues through adulthood, and although it seems that more often than not, childhood injuries are somewhat expected and entirely forgivable. In fact, some of the top 7 common childhood injuries and accidents, they include exactly what you think they do. Falling downstairs, slipping in bathtubs, walking into doors, cuts or punctures, bites, all the things you expect from kids and your elderly parents. And all the things you probably did yourself. But like I said, these things are forgivable. You know what's going to happen. Then there's those more adult injuries that are completely our own fault. Our friends at BuzzFeed recently asked people to share the silliest ways they've hurt themselves, and it includes, tearing an ACL during a spirited performance at a karaoke bar, busting their lip on a door frame while recreating the Tom Cruise floor slide scene from Risky Business, and, of course, throwing out their back because they sneezed. And then there's those situations you cannot predict or prevent. In fact, last month, a 7-year-old kid needed open heart surgery after a drone dropped out of the sky during a holiday drone show, and it sliced into his chest. And then a few days ago, a barista at an Alabama Starbucks, she needed medical assistance after being attacked at the drive-thru window by a monkey. I don't care who you are, that was not in your horoscope for that day. But that brings us to today's question, which is brought to us by our friends at Advanced Hair Restoration. Today, we want to know, you can go back to your childhood, you can talk about the most recent thing, but today we want to know, what was your first or most memorable injury?
To be a part of the big show, call 206-803-ROCK. Like the Men's Room on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Men's Room Live, and send those emails to the Men's Room at KISW.com.
The debauchery rolls on. You're listening to the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill. 99.9 KISW.
All the Machalas, away we go. Welcome to Season 20, episode number 4,245. What a large and in charge program we have for you today. Guaranteed future repeat. Once again, we'll sit and spin. Ted, I know you were pretty fired up about your Yacht Rock documentary. You recommended that I watched it. I was enthralled by the thing.
Yeah, everybody is.
Awesome stuff. As far as, I know the songs, I know the artists, but not necessarily knowing the story behind all of it and how all this stuff went down was fairly interesting because that was all part of my childhood.
Yeah, for sure, man.
So, while we were gone, believe it or not, and I'll tell you the story coming up, but Rob Lowe, of all people, he pops up in the Yacht Rock conversation.
All right.
From his 80s era, when Yacht Rock was basically king without that label.
Correct.
But at the same time, one of the more interesting but yet strange tidbits I think I've ever heard in my life as far as Rob Lowe. Now, we know Rob Lowe and all the things he's done as far as being an actor and some of his popular movies and television and everything else. But
being a great-looking man.
Being a really good-looking man.
Not aging.
Wearing an NFL hat to not prove that he's a fan of any team.
I'm here for the league.
He is. Yeah. But also made an attempt at singing. And you taught me a couple things I had no idea before I even watched the documentary, which was the fact that the band Toto basically backed up Michael Jackson, for the most part, on a lot of the album Thriller, as Quincy Jones had hired those guys as session players. Actually heard Billie Jean over the weekend, and I'm listening to it. I'm like, that does have a Toto kind of riff to it.
Is it Toto or Steely Dan?
It's Toto.
Toto.
All right. And I never really thought about it. And then
You wouldn't think about it until they say that it happened. Then you start lending your ear like, okay, that makes sense.
Believe it or not, there was a Rob Lowe Toto collaboration in studio back in the 80s when Rob was done filming the epic masterpiece known as St. Elmo's Fire.
All right.
They went in studio together. So we have that story coming up. But today, in honor, we have the 10 greatest Yacht Rock songs of all times coming up just for you, Ted, at 4:30. You can see if you can test your knowledge. I know you've bought
listened to a lot of it.
You bought some vinyl and have been checking it out.
Talked about it.
Yeah.
You have a turntable.
No.
Yeah, so hold up on the vinyl.
Yeah.
Right. We'll get you a turntable. We probably have one laying around here. The problem is you need to get an amplifier and then you need
all the crap.
The speakers and all that stuff. But you can actually go to Amazon. One I bought was like $170 maybe.
Yeah,
and
everybody's got them.
It fills the room. It's fine. It's loud enough. And I play all my vinyl on it. Yes, I would love to have a professional turntable, but either way, I have since acquired a lot of what they label as within the yacht rock category.
Sure. Absolutely.
Now, whether that's George Benson, whether that's Steely Dan, I've been picking up a lot more stuff. So, coming up at 4:30 today, we have the 10 greatest yacht rock tunes of all times. What else do we have? We got the announcement today, believe it or not, from Black Raven Brewing concerning our 20th anniversary lager. It is now out at a lot of your local convenience stores. It will be available on tap. If your bar and favorite convenience store does not have it, just ask the owner. Say, hey, man, love to have the beer on tap. Help out our friends at the Fisher House.
Yeah, man.
It's great beer for a great cause. It is the 20th anniversary lager. Another chance for you to taste this will happen Friday, February the 7th, as we do our 20th anniversary lager launch party up at the Black Raven Brewing facility up in Woodinville. Show will be live from 2 till 6. It's absolutely free to get in. Come in, get a draft of the new beer, hang with us for the afternoon, be a part of the show.
You will, in fact, be part of the show. We're not doing phone calls.
No, we've already determined. It's, we want to talk to the people who were there. Every time we try the phones, it's for some reason is just a circus. So we've determined, no. We're going out into the live studio audience. You're answering the questions. You're doing all of the segments. So stop on by, be a part of the show. Again, it'll just be a great afternoon to sit back and drink some beer and get a chance to shake hands and talk to people. So hopefully you can stop by. Today on the question, what do we... One more thing. They tell us to say this all the time because they want you to win 5K. So we're doing a little thing called 5K a day.
Nice.
You have to run 5 kilometers a day to call this show.
Which is only a little over 3 miles. Mm-hmm. So it's not as bad as it sounds.
No, it is.
But either way...
Not for runners.
Yeah.
I'm not a runner, so it is.
If you listen to KISW, you listen to the men's room for 1 hour at Odyssey.com or the Odyssey app. Make sure you're logged in so they know you're there. That's all. You'll be registered. So just listen to the show for 1 hour, whether you're in your car, at home, at work, whatever you're doing, and you have a chance to win your share of 5K a day. And today we're going to talk about injuries. We've all had them. Obviously, injuries are not something that are ever planned. They almost fall under the category, without question, of accidents. Were some of them preventable?
Sure.
Based on your actions.
Absolutely. But you still weren't trying to injure yourself.
You weren't trying to have the ladder tip over. You weren't trying to have all these things happen.
You thought you could clear the bonfire. It's understood.
You thought you could cut a bagel in half. Whatever the deal is.
In your hand.
You quickly learn some very valuable things.
You thought the dog was friendly.
Yeah. Maybe you're just cutting on a cutting board and learning to use a knife. How important it is to know where your fingers are and how to hold stuff when you're doing that. And sometimes you just put yourself in situations where you know damn well there is a chance that you could be injured doing what you're doing. Mm-hmm. And whether that's playing sports, be involved in athletics, working jobs requires some risky type things. But either way, everyone gets hurt. It seems like if you are a parent, your children get hurt a lot.
Yeah, I mean, you just pass the baton on that. I'm not sure for all the, not real injuries, but the hurts that my kids have endured through their childhood. I remember doing the same thing, or I don't remember it, and my mother tells me, yeah, you did that when you were 3. At least your kid was only 2. Or, yeah, you did that a little later in life when you should have known better. It's everybody. My grandparents told me about my parents getting injured, although one that stands out that my grandmother told the story, not my mother. So it's one of those things that I know nothing about. And then my grandmother, who talks like this all the time, always sounded angry, always had a cigarette in her mouth, but was not angry, but was smoking. For whatever reason, my mother and her next youngest brother, she's the second of 5, so the third of 5, her brother, always fought, as brothers and sisters do. So my grandparents, one night, they were not the type to go out and socialize and do things. They would invite people to their home a lot, but rarely did they go out. So as my grandmother put it, we just wanted to have this one nice night out. We're going to go to the restaurant, and we knew we're not even going to stay out long. And the kids are old enough to babysit themselves, but not smart enough that they should have been left alone. That's how my grandmother saw it. Long story short, as my grandmother puts it, when we get back from wherever they had gone for dinner or whatever it was, their son, my mother's brother, he clearly had been to the hospital and had bandages on him. So they kind of freak out. They wanted to know what happened. I never really get all the details on this, but apparently my mother stabbed him either intentionally or not. Maybe she was just threatening him with the knife, but either way, the knife was in her hand and ended up in him. They had to go to the neighbor, who then took him to the hospital. He got bandaged up, nothing like threatening or anything like that, but he had to get the stitches. And my mother said, look, I tried to tell your grandmother the story, but she never wanted to hear it. All she heard is that I stabbed him. I said, well, did you? She goes, well, yeah. And then after that, my grandmother's like, I don't want to hear another thing. Just got my mom in trouble.
Sure.
But that was the biggest injury he suffered, was at the hands of my mother stabbing him. And I'm like, why did I get in trouble for anything when I was growing up? Like, when I hear stuff like that, like, look, I did some bad stuff, no doubt about it. Every kid does. But I'm like, man, I never stabbed anybody. And if I did stab someone, it wouldn't have been Adrian. Like, he's not my own brother. But yeah, she stabbed his ass, and he ended up going to the hospital. They had to pay the bills, had the bandages. Like, she lost her mind. Just said, I just don't want to know the story, because if you tell me the story, you're going to be in even more trouble. And I kind of do that with my kids now, where I'll witness something, the aftermath of something, and I'm kind of angry, and I'm like, look, the best thing you can do right now, because I'm kind of steaming about this, is not tell me why this thing happened.
Right.
It has happened.
Yep.
It has come to pass. You're apologizing about it. So before you start blubbering your excuses or whatever, like, I don't want to hear it. Let's just agree that this S does not happen again. And they're pretty good about it. That's maybe happened 3 times where I'm like, look, man, seriously, I don't want to know, because if you tell me, I'm going to kill you. I'm already mad. But because I don't know the details, you're lucky. Sometimes just save the story.
Yep. It's tough with siblings. I mean, my brother, right, he's 7 years older. Mm-hmm. So me and my 2 cousins are the same age. So my brother would often play football. Sorry for my voice. Would play football like on his knees if we were all playing, right? Especially
downstairs on the car.
In the basement or whatever.
Yeah.
So same kind of thing. My sister's playing. I don't know what happened. So basically, my brother ends up breaking her collarbone.
Oh, Jesus.
Right. Completely unintentional. But, right, same thing. My aunt is just like, what the hell happened? And it's like, oh, the oldest one was trying to do something nice by not hurting us, and ended up hurting her.
No, it happened to the best running back we had. We played football all the time, no matter if we were practicing or we were on an organized team or whatever the deal was. And this is a guy that I ended up playing college football with, who was a running back in college. And my buddy Brian, the way that he grabbed his arm and the way that his weight was moving, when he grabbed his arm, he spun him around and ended up dumping him on his shoulder and on his head.
Right.
Basically almost knocked Garrett out, but definitely broke his collarbone. This was problematic because we were still playing football on an organized team where he's the best player on the team, and we just lost him. And okay, so then because of Coach McNamara and what a mean SOB he was was one of those football coach guys that was like, no water, you keep running. Like, he was that guy that had no rhyme or reason.
He'd be arrested these days. Yeah.
It'd be a Friday, we're playing on a Friday night, we'd do a walkthrough, and he'd want to do Oklahoma's. He's just this guy, right?
Yep.
So we had to make a vow of secrecy and come up with a story, even for Garrett to tell his parents what happened.
Right.
So the story we came up with was that Garrett fell off his bike.
Okay, it was a collarbone. That's a reason.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's what we thought. And then, of course, the coach is yelling at him, why is he riding his bike during, football season?
Of course, because that's a whole nother thing, yeah.
It's so late in the fall and blah, 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 blah. But he couldn't.
But it's better than the truth. Like, you'll take your lumps because it's better than telling them the truth. Like, look, I am lying to this man, and they are pissed. But if we tell him the truth, he's going to be more pissed, so just stick to the lie.
Right. And, the guy who did it was a wide receiver. Back in those days, you didn't throw to the wide receivers a lot. That wasn't kind of the style of football that was being played. It was more option, and all Brian
ran the ball.
Yeah, all Brian wanted to do power, T's, and I's, and just the most boring Nebraska, old Penn State football you've ever seen. Not what they're now. This was old school football.
No, it's like 80s Big Ten football.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What's it, 3 yards in a cloud of dust?
Yeah, so the coach kind of got, because Brian kept going like, Coach, just throw me the ball, man. I'm going to make up for what, for the fact
For him falling off the bike.
We don't got Garrett anymore. And, obviously he's never going to call plays like that.
Yeah.
So Brian was just upset the entire game that he could not get the ball, because he was fast and he was a good player. He just couldn't get the ball in his hands because we didn't throw the ball that much.
Yeah.
Maybe you threw the ball 8 times a game when you're in, 7th, 8th grade, whatever this was. It was not that common.
It was rare.
It was very rare.
Yeah.
It was very rare. So just side note, at the end of the game, we were down by like 14 or whatever. Brian picks the ball off because he also played defensive back, takes it in the end zone. Now we're only down by 7. Now we start throwing the ball.
Right. Make up time.
Because we're down. There's only 3 or 4 minutes left. We get the ball back. And, of course, Starcher's open, so I start throwing the ball to Starcher, Brian, and he caught another touchdown. Now we're tied. The game ends in a tie.
Oh, really?
That's how the game ends back then. They don't even do overtime.
Really?
But a tie was as good as a win.
I think high school regular season still ends in ties.
Well, this was basically what you call like Pop Warner Pony League.
Yeah.
So we were in middle school.
Yeah.
So tie game is over, but it was a win for Brian because Brian felt so much better about it. Garrett wasn't happy.
Oh, of course not.
He was still pissed off about the whole thing. But you know what? Until you've seen just what a dislocated and broken collarbone looks like, it's pretty gnarly. Like, it depends on where you break it.
Sure.
But his was almost protruding, out of the front. So when that happened, we were all freaked the hell out just because of how bad it looked. He was kind of on an adrenaline rush to the point where he did not seem to be in a lot of pain, but he was just in shock.
Sure.
Kind of a deal. So we all, of course, walked home and got him home. And then, his parents were not happy with us. They knew something was weird because basically we didn't roll up on bikes.
All right, no one has a bike, but he fell off of a bike.
That is correct.
We got rid of the bikes after he got hurt.
So, yeah.
Because that's the first thing you need to do.
The good news was the story never reached the coach.
Sure.
So that at that point in time, that was the most important thing because, man, all hell would have broke loose if he found out that we were honestly playing tackle football during the season.
Oh, of course.
That would have been the worst.
I don't want to say the high school, but the son of a friend of mine. He's a freshman in high school, so this is his first year. And he is an athlete. He had never really played football before, but he was curious about playing football. And his team has a known football team in the Seattle area, so he went to try out. And because it's freshman year, you kind of make the team if you're willing to show up, right? So I think he made it through 4 practices. And more recently, when I talked to his parents, I said, man, how was so-and-so like in football? And he said, he didn't mind it much, but during one of the practices, one of the other students got a compound fracture. And they heard it, they saw it, and he said that wasn't the bad part, but I guess the scream that came out of this kid, their son is done with football.
He's not playing anymore.
He's not.
Does that mean they get popped through the skin?
Yeah. Like
I've never. That's one thing I've never seen. I mean,
but he said it wasn't.
Garrett's shoulder blade looked like his collarbone looked like it could come out, but it didn't break the skin.
Oh no, this kid. I mean, it was a compound fracture, and so I'm thinking it's got to be the visual thing, right? Because to me, it's got to freak you out. It's like he wasn't comfortable with that, but he was like, "Nah, Mr. Steve, that wasn't so much a thing." But he goes, the sound that came out of this kid's mouth, right? You can't mistake it for anything other than pain. So even if you don't see it, either this dude's getting attacked by a shark or it's a compound fracture. It's just that super high-pitched, I've never felt pain like this in my life thing, man. And he said just seeing it and seeing the look on the kid's face, he's like, I was done. I said, hey, man, okay, maybe it's not for you. It's a brutal sport. Most people don't get compound fractures, but that'll stick in your head if you see that. And he's like, he's like, look, I'm not worried about getting hurt. It's not that. But he goes, that kid was clearly in more pain than I've ever seen another human being. And he's like, I don't even want to risk it.
Yeah. And by the way, we were padded up back then. I mean, we had girdles on. We had thigh pads, knee pads. We had neck rolls. Our shoulder pads were huge. A lot of people wore flap jackets, even if they weren't playing quarterback, just to protect the ribs and things like that. And I'm watching that game last night, and there's like a dude in shorts. He was, honest to God, like...
I had the same conversation.
In gym shorts. I'm like,
that was legal.
What the hell is that?
Where's his knee pad? His butt pad?
I know, how could you just walk out there and play football in shorts?
That's the same legal.
Is this flag football? What the hell is this?
Is that guy even wearing pads?
We're having the same thoughts, I guess.
Oh, yeah, trust me. Everybody on my text thread is 40 and over and played football.
Yeah.
They never wear them anymore.
Seriously,
put on some pads, son.
Get off my lawn mullet. What was your first or most memorable injury? 206-803-ROCK.
99.9 KISW. The shenanigans continue. This is the men's room with Miles and Thrill.
Definitely a memorable injury, and if this is this young woman's first injury, it's a bit of a double whammy. A barista in Mobile, Alabama, needed stitches and vaccinations earlier this month after a monkey jumped through a drive-through window, climbed up her arm, and bit her multiple times. Mobile Police Department officers were dispatched to the Starbucks January 10th, where they learned that a customer's pet monkey had jumped from a vehicle into the coffee shop through the drive-through window. The employee, who asked to remain unnamed, sustained bites to her hands and a laceration to her ear, all the required stitches. Another employee was able to pull the monkey off of her as she was being attacked. The monkey then got back into the customer's vehicle, and the customer drove away.
Did they get their drink?
I do not know. The owner of the animal could face several charges. It's an active animal services investigation. The employee said the customer had 2 monkeys in the vehicle when she pulled up. The customer later did come into the Starbucks to discuss the incident, but did not want to give her name or any information.
I bet she didn't.
She was easily identified as Tammy Gardner, who declined to comment on the incident at the Starbucks.
Told you, man, I do not trust monkeys. I just don't. I had a friend who had a spider monkey. I went to her home one time. And, like, anytime you go to someone's house, it doesn't matter the pet. If they give you a warning about the pet, like, don't do this, don't do that, and it's just normal things you would do, there's something wrong, right? So she had a monkey, little spider monkey, I guess. They say, hey, man, just don't laugh around the monkey. And to me, that is the biggest red flag you can have, because typically when you hang out with friends, at some point you're going to laugh. But anyway, we're sitting at her dining room table, spider monkey sitting at the end next to her, and I said something, and I didn't laugh, but I said something that made the monkey's owner, Cecily was her name, she chuckled. Not even like a big brouhaha, just and then you could feel the air kind of get sucked out of the room. This monkey stared at her for like 2 seconds, and then lightning fast, his little itty-bitty hand, bitch slapped her across the face. But, I mean, it was just pow, right? And the monkey freaked the hell out, started jumping around, running around, all the stuff. She had a big welt on the side of her face. I looked at my buddy. He's like, I'm gone, man. Like, I'm out.
Yes.
This is weird. You know, and part of me, too, because I wanted to laugh at the fact that a spider monkey just bitch slapped someone. I'd never had that experience. Like, that was funny. But I'm like, I can't laugh because then this thing's going to attack me. And as tiny as they are, right? I mean, you look at it, you're like, I could beat this monkey's ass. I don't know what it is about him. I'm like, man, I'm not effing with this monkey. And I left.
What was your first or most memorable injury? 206-803-ROCK.
Hello, Daniel. Welcome to the men's room.
Liquor and whores.
Liquor and whores.
Happy New Year's. I got to remember to send you guys a birthday request in 2 days.
All right.
Happy New Year.
Yeah. So, I guess I'll just go, my first one was, you guys are familiar with the counterbalance in Queen Anne Hill.
Oh, yeah.
So up at the top of the counterbalance, there's the jogger on the spaghetti shop, and it stretched. That's Queen Anne Avenue, and that stretches on for, I don't know, good old, quarter mile, half mile, whatever it is. So on the right-hand side is the hill. If you're facing north, it's hilly on the right side, and it kind of levels out at Queen Anne Avenue. I lived up on Blaine across from the bank, a couple blocks before, like, Thriftway or whatever it is now, Safeway or something like that. So anyway, I don't know, say about 4 years old, and our house was halfway up the block. So we were on the high side of the alley, because there's an alley that runs north and south. And I took my trike to the top of the hill. So it was, probably a good 4 houses up from my house.
Wait. You're on a tricycle? This is a tricycle.
Not one of my smartest judgments. Yes, a little trike. And, I was just playing. It was summertime. I was having fun. And I got about a pedal, I'd say probably about 3 pedals into going downhill. And when you try and stop it, I think we've all done this when we're in a trike, and you can't stop. There's no brakes, and your feet, like, bounce off the pedals, and your knees, like, almost slap you in the chin.
Sure.
Well, I was getting a little bit of speed, and I saw, and I was well aware of what Queen Anne Avenue was, and I did not want to go past my house, so I ended up ditching face first. I just, like, peeled, layers of skin off, big old raspberry nose, big old raspberry chin, killed top tooth and a bottom tooth. They're like, I don't know, I'd say probably, I want to say maybe a couple of weeks or so later, they just turned black and I lost them. So fortunately they were baby teeth. And of course, the palms and the knees, and more than anything was pride and mom's first or second gray hair.
Yeah. Well, I think that's kind of a rite of passage anytime you get on something with wheels, whether it's a skateboard. I would have done that maybe with a big wheel, but I don't think I would have tried it with a tricycle.
I would have tried it with the tricycle over the big wheel, because I never had a big wheel, but my friends had big wheels. And at the time that I was at the age where kids had big wheels, we lived on a hill, and they had that little blue brake that you pop.
Yeah.
And I realized when I watched them go down on the big wheel, like, it never did anything. you pulled it and it just kind of made them skid.
Right.
And they'd roll off of. And I'm like, I don't want the
As far as, I did something kind of like that. Like, obviously, Queen Anne Hill, super steep.
Yeah.
But I had an old fire truck I got when I was littler. So, I mean, I barely.
Like a plastic one?
Right. It's got the pedals inside.
Yeah.
And I remember same thing, right? Like, either my sister or brother had a bicycle, and I was like, I'm going to take the fire truck.
And race them around.
Right. Like, go up our hill, then you'd go left and kind of go up another little hill, right? So, same thing. Coming down that hill, I think my brother literally said, I wouldn't start from there. And I was like, screw you. But same thing, come down that hill. I turn that corner, somehow make the corner, but now I've got like the speed wobbles. You can't put your feet on those pedals inside. And same thing, it flipped over. I don't know how far I skidded down, but I mean, the chunk of skin that had come out of my knee. And then the main thing I remember was just the pure burning sensation of the hydrogen peroxide.
Oh, yeah.
And then picking gravel out of your knee or wherever the hell that was. I
love the speed wobbles on one of those plastic fire trucks. I don't know how I find that. But speed wobbles, bro. You're probably going 7 miles an hour.
Maybe, right. And I'm too old to be in this thing, so my feet barely fit those pedals anyhow.
Yeah. When I got an actual bike, back in the day, they would put a huge ass flag, like a golf flag.
Yeah, your big orange flag on the back,
and it was
man.
probably 6, 7 feet. It just seemed like it was 10 feet up in the air. It was probably 6 or 7 feet. And then my grandfather, he wrapped the body of the bike in reflective tape.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And he put extra reflectors within the spokes of all these safety precautions.
We called it pimping out her bike back in the day.
So that I would be seen, but at the same point in time, I'm not wearing a helmet. That was never part of the safety consideration. It was just like, you need to be seen to not be injured. Which, there's something to be said about that, but that was not the real threat.
In the 70s, the kid that wore a helmet on the bike also took a different bus to your school. And that's not a joke. Like that, like seriously. They went to your school, but you never rode the same bus. If they had the helmet, you're like, oh, it's that kid.
Yep. What was your first or most memorable injury? 206-803-ROCK.
Hello, Mike. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola, bicholas.
Hola.
So, I used to work for a hotel. I was a chief engineer, which is basically just a glorified maintenance person.
Okay.
And I basically, I did all the maintenance stuff at the hotel. But one of the days, I had to use some industrial strength Drano, and I was pouring it into a container so I could pour it into the toilet. But then some splashed on my hand, a tiny little drop splashed on my hand. And I saw it just kind of sizzle a little bit. I was like, oh, that's kind of wild. So me, being younger and being stupid, I dumped my latex hand glove. I had a glove on. Dipped that into the sulfuric acid and just kind of rubbed it onto my hand a little bit and just kind of watched the sulfuric acid eat away at my skin and my tissue. And then I basically about 10 seconds later, that's when I was like, okay, maybe that's getting a little bit much, and that's when I wiped it off. But yeah, I have a scar on my hand that's in the shape of kind of like a whale from the sulfuric acid that I decided to drip onto my own hand.
And how old were you exactly? You're working at a hotel, so how old are you?
I was 22.
22. Sulfuric acid. I mean, look, at 22, I feel like the dumb stuff you do is, I don't know, take a bike over a brick wall. I do feel like sulfuric acid, you kind of go, I don't want to mess with this. I don't want to mess with this.
Yeah. I thought for some reason you're not supposed to put Drano in the toilet. Am I reading the directions
It
wrong?
might have not been a toilet. It might have been a sink, actually,
Okay.
now that I think about it.
What is the difference between putting Drano in the sink versus the toilet?
I don't
just
know.
Out of curiosity.
I saw it on the label because I was reading the label of all the things because I had a clogged drain and it just said, don't put down the toilet. I'm like, well, why don't you put it down there?
You don't use your plunger on your drain.
I have no idea. I got that job as a housekeeper. And then they promoted me to the chief engineer because I knew how to, fix light bulbs and replace light bulbs. And you can be a chief engineer. That's excellent. And I was dumb, a very curious person, and I saw that happen. I was like, oh, I wonder what will happen if I put more on there.
Worse things.
Yeah. A couple of days later, I finally went to it was 2 days later, I finally went to the emergency care, and they had to numb the area and then start scrubbing away with a sponge of some sort, scrubbing away at the dead tissue that was on top.
And why did they need to do that? I'm just asking because, so the sulfuric acid had already done the damage it's going to do, right? It's not like it was still burning through you. So
So the reason why they had to do that is because I may have not gone to the urgent care soon enough, and so it kind of had started healing and with some dead tissue and some dead skin, and it looked like it was going to get infected. So they rubbed it, some seriousness, and then just put some wrapping on it, and then a couple of months later, kind of slowly started healing back to where I could actually take off that wrap.
Okay. All right. That makes sense. By the way, someone here says, if your drain is clogged, you can't start with the plunger, Ted. If that doesn't work, then you use Drano.
Oh, I was just making a joke.
Yeah.
That it said not to use Drano in the sink or the toilet. And I just never think to use a plunger on my sink.
Look, I've used it, whether I'm supposed to or not, man, back when my daughter was dropping those bombs in there. Like, you got to plunge it out first. And when you flush the toilet, like, it would flush, but it was like kind of that weak flush that says there's still more somewhere deeper in the pipe. And I'd plunge it out for another 15 minutes, and it's still a slightly stronger, but another weak flush. And I would dump that crap in there, wait 30 minutes, and that kind of cleaned it out. So I don't know if I was doing the wrong thing. To be fair, I never actually read the label. I'm just like, put it where the problem is.
What was your first or most memorable injury? 206-803-ROCK.
Hello, Jared. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola.
Hola.
How y'all doing?
Doing great, man.
So my dad used to be a brick mason in Seattle for tons and tons of years, and one of his coworkers or my mom got something gift to her is a concrete bench. And you remember those pulled back racers?
Pull back racers.
The toys.
Oh, yeah. Literally, you just pull it back, let go, and the car zips forward. Okay.
Yeah. I had a buttload of those, and I pulled one back, and it ended up rolling under one of the sides. Well, I'm like, I can't remember entirely how old, but 3 to 5 or 6 years old. And I'm playing out on the porch, and I go across the porch to recover it, and I put my forehead right on the corner of one of the sides.
God. How much damage did you do?
As far as I know, I didn't break all the way to my brain.
Okay.
Luckily.
What kind of student were you? Were you a C student?
A little bit.
Okay, well, I think, maybe.
You were supposed to be on the roll.
Right, exactly.
So you went after that car.
He knocked you 2 grades down.
Man, honest to God, those cars probably cause not more significant injuries, but more injuries than you would think with those toys. Because I remember getting them for my son, and same thing, you roll them back, you let go, they zip somewhere, but no matter where the kids aim them, they always go under something. And I know when my kid had them for, maybe 6 months that he really enjoyed those. He bashed into the dining room table, crashed into the couch, smashed into the coffee table, got his fingers stuck in doors, and it was all these cars because they try to get them, and kids aren't really experts at trying to navigate things. So they just see where the car went. That's exactly where they go to get it. And regardless of what obstacles between the child and where that car is, somehow they don't see it. Right. You know what I mean? Yep. So he would just walk into the coffee table, hit his shins, and drop to the ground. And I'm like, is there something wrong with this kid? And but same thing where my mother goes, dude, you did the same thing. Like, even your Evil Knievel's, that you got to wind it up and shoot off. But she's like, if that thing shot under the sofa, she's like, you walked directly into the coffee table as though it wasn't there.
But you forget what is dangerous about it. I mean, we had BB guns. We used to get that. We'd shoot them at each other.
Sure.
We had bows and arrows. We used to shoot arrows at each other.
But you had your bets with that because you go,
well, they still had a suction cup on them, right. But still.
I could put out your eye, but there's so much more body behind your eyes. The likelihood of me hitting you in the eye is real rare until you actually hit someone in the eye.
My one buddy was obsessed with boomerangs. Back in the day, that was like one of those things. You're in Australia, you got a boomerang, mate. So he got a boomerang. And he
was it blue and red?
It was
actually, a real one, or what a toy was?
It was a real one that was wooden. And the thing was, as much as we tried to figure out how to throw that boomerang, you could never figure it out.
Did you ever figure it out?
I never figured out.
I never did.
But Brett got one after that was that had 4 blades on it.
Okay.
Now, this thing was much easier to throw, but it was still wooden and it was thin. And apparently, well, he cracked himself in the back of the head with it because he came in with 3 stitches. We did not see this happen, but he did whip that thing around. If you got a sled, basically,
Oh, God,
if you don't...
You can't steer it.
It's a recipe for disaster. A toboggan sled, now 5 people are getting hurt. 3 people are getting hurt. If you have a disc sled, there's no way you can control it.
The
only
disc
sled-
one was the dumbest one.
You could bail, but that was about it.
But for whatever reason, that's the one you put the smallest kids in. The way I remember it when I was growing
And
up.
we would go down on our knees.
You had the oldest kids got the wooden ones with the red skis, but you could kind of steer it with that boomerang looking.
Yeah.
And granted, it's not like it steered well, but you had some chance of avoiding the trees that inevitably are at the bottom of the hill. The red one was kind of the next age bracket down, but if you were teeny tiny, right? So you're like 2 years old, you can sit up by yourself. That's when you got the unsteerable round saucer. And these kids, I mean, they just shoot down the hill, fly off the saucer.
Yeah.
It was just a lot of teeth.
Look, if you're at a ski resort, they'll have some places have a tubing section.
Yeah.
But they have these ruts, these runs,
tracks.
that you go down the track and you stay in there.
to keep you there, yeah.
But that's not the case when your kid, you're friends with somebody who's just got a inner tube. And you can get 2 or 3 people on there, man. You hit
go
one,
down the hill.
You hit one butt, man. Everybody goes flying through the air, like uncontrollably,
The first time I broke a bone was on a sled doing the train. You hold each other's ankles. There's 3 of us. The first kid,
and you S down the hill.
he almost hit the tree stump. It grazed me, but smashed my ankle. But the kid behind me, Mike, he was the last one on the train, as we call it, it hit his ribs. The next day at school, first kid, he shows up, he's fine. I'm on crutches. Not the end of the world, just kind of chipped the bone. And Mike, I mean, this dude, he's like, please don't make me laugh. He couldn't move. And
I can't cough,
And
can't
again, we
sneeze.
realized, like, we're sledding in the forest with sleds we can't steer.
What was your first or most memorable injury? 206-803-ROCK.
Dreaming of a 6-night getaway to paradise? Escape to the islands of Tahiti and Moorea with Air Tahiti Nui, the world's most immersive travel experience. This all-inclusive vacation package is designed to take you to a tropical haven, starting with nonstop flights from Los Angeles or Seattle to Tahiti. From the vibrant cabins to the warmth of our Polynesian crew, you will be transported to Tahiti from the moment you step on board. Your package includes luxurious hotel stays, ensuring that your experience is as comfortable as it is enchanting. Start each day with a delicious Polynesian breakfast, enjoy exciting excursions that showcase the beauty and culture of the islands, and take advantage of convenient transfers that make your trip seamless from start to finish. All of this begins at just $26.95 per person. Whether you're looking to explore crystal clear waters, unwind on pristine beaches, or immerse yourself in rich Polynesian culture, Tahiti and Moorea offer endless possibilities for both adventure and relaxation. Call 1-877-468-2448 now to book your Tahiti and Moorea escape.
Lovers wants to know, ever forget Valentine's Day in the past? Need to make up for it? Do it and them right this time with the perfect pleasure present from Lovers stores. Whether you're looking for spicy toys, alluring lingerie, or exciting accessories, Lovers has it all. Save 20% when you mention unforgettable at one of our 18 Western Washington locations. Offer valid with free Lovers Afterglow Rewards membership until February 28th. Some exclusions apply.
What's up? It's your boy, the Ted Smith. When that pipe starts to trickle and you're in a real pickle, call Pinky. When that burst pipe starts to smell ripe, call Pinky. When your water heater's shot and it won't get hot, call Pinky. When you get home to a flood, call your best bud. Pinky's Plumbing to the rescue. No job is too big or too small. Pinky's does it all. So when your plumbing backs up and things get stinky, call Pinky's. Pinky'sPlumbing.com.
Hey, what's the easiest way to find out what channel the game's on? Sports on What? Subscribe to the Sports on What app and quickly find the channel for every provider. Satellite, cable, or streaming. Sports on What knows the channel the game is on, and you can too. Download today.
99.9 KISW. We return to the men's room with Miles and Thrill.
Do not forget to sign on to Odyssey.com or the Odyssey app. You listen for 1 hour. Your chance at $5K a day. Okay, as far as our question and injuries, a few from a recently published article on BuzzFeed.
BuzzFeed.
Almost said butt feed.
Yeah.
What's new on butt feed?
What do you feed one's butt?
Depends on who it is.
That's good.
All right. According to BuzzFeed, a woman was singing part of the world from the Little Mermaid soundtrack at karaoke. She got into it and somehow tore her ACL.
From the Little Mermaid. Somehow that's even worse.
Guy was waxing his floor and tried to do the Tom Cruise slide from Risky Business. He didn't stop and busted his lip on a door frame.
Well, I mean, he did it.
Someone tried ice skating for the first time, then tried to jump and broke their tailbone.
Ooh.
Here's another. A woman dislocated her knee trying to kick a balloon at a birthday party. Guys, never stand or try to on a beach ball. I fell into a coffee table. Another. A woman was washing her face in the shower. Accidentally shoved her pinky finger up her nose and got a horrible nosebleed.
How do you do that? I guess it's like biting the inside of your own cheek or biting your tongue.
Mm-hmm. Someone attempted to walk downstairs while they had their roller skates on and needed 10 stitches in the knee. Another, riding my bike, got distracted when I saw a cute puppy, then crashed into a mailbox. Here's another I can vouch for to be true. Sliced my finger open on a disco ball. We used to have a disco ball in our studio, and that thing is just all mirrored glass in small little pieces.
Correct.
So if one of those little pieces is missing, it kind of creates an open area where it's just...
You cut your finger on that thing?
It's razor blades. No, I just understand how sharp it is.
Ah, okay.
You know, based on never really physically handling a disco ball before, I didn't know the danger involved. And finally, I injured my knee playing foosball. Our question, what was your first or most memorable injury? 206-803-ROCK.
They played it wrong, apparently. Hello, Brock. Welcome to the Men's Room.
Hola, bitches.
Hola.
So I've told you a bunch of memories as far as they were later in life, like a pool stick over the head and hand through the table saw. So those are pretty memorable. But this is not necessarily the injury, but after the injury that I'm calling about. I was in high school, freshman, playing football in the JV. I was the kicker because I played soccer, and also receiver and cornerback. So I was playing like the entire game most of the time. And after one game, I didn't realize during the game I injured my knee. I didn't even notice it. Woke up the next morning, and my knee looked like a watermelon, and it was like, oh, my gosh, what's up with that? So it turns out you go to the doctor, and I had torn some cartilage in my knee. So I'm going to have an arthroscopic surgery. They take me in to do the surgery, and as they're doing the surgery, they realize my knee is way worse than they thought, so they had to cut me open. And it went from, like, overnight kind of thing to I'm in the hospital until they tell me when I can lift my leg off the bed, then I'm able to go home. Well, that took, like, 4 or 5 days for that to happen. One of the things while I'm in there, I never peed while sitting, and I had an issue with trying to pee, so I couldn't pee when I was in the room. They finally had to do one of those where they stick the tube in you.
Catheter.
Catheter, yeah, that was not pleasant. I finally, forced myself to pee in that. But so while I'm in there, I hated my stepdad. He was not a friendly guy. But one day I'm asleep. I wake up, the nurse says, oh, your stepdad came in to visit you, and he left you something. And they pointed over at the side table, and it was my first Playboy that somebody had ever given me.
Oh, very nice.
Oh, so he found that in your room and he brought it in for you.
But wait a minute. Wait. So, but did you still have the catheter in you?
No. That was
okay.
That was over. Yeah. No, this was, I woke up later to find out that he was actually a cool guy and, knew that a 14-year-old kid in a room for 5 days, since we don't have cell phones back then, might want a Playboy that he bought down at the thing. So, yeah.
He might want one. You definitely want one. Mm-hmm. I thought he did it when you saw the catheter in you. I'm like, that's a cruel joke, man.
If I saw a Playboy right now, I would pick that thing immediately up.
Yes.
I mean as quick as I would if they had a bowl of candy at the front desk.
It's like finding a $20 bill on the floor. You're going to grab it. Somebody years ago.
What year is this? Who is this?
At this station, I don't know who got the subscription to Penthouse, right?
I think they just sent it to media.
Once a month, that thing showed up, and it always ended up in our office. I mean, and this is pre-COVID, so there's 120 people on the floor. It ended up in our office, and I think I passed it around. Like, yeah, if you're going to show me boobs, I'm going to look. It's one of those things, man.
What was your first or most memorable injury? 206-803-ROCK.
Hello, Adam. Welcome to the Men's Room.
Hola, bichola.
Hola.
So I got to take you guys back in time, back to 1980.
Ooh, 1980. All right.
First day, first grade. My brother was 4 years older than me, so he was in 6th grade. We went to the same school. Out on the playground playing, you remember the metal round monkey rings?
Yep.
So instead of going across, we would hold on to 2 of them and swing back and forth. And I had a couple buddies pushing me, going back and forth, and right across from the monkey bars was a big steel framed like rocket ship.
All right.
And they pushed me so hard, I flew off the monkey rings, and my left arm went in between 2 of the rungs, and I got 2 compound fractures and shattered my wrist.
Oh, man. How old were you?
First day of first grade, so
okay.
7 maybe.
7 years old. How loud do you think you screamed?
It was horrendous.
Yeah. You see that dynamic in parks has changed a lot.
Well, it's all plastic.
A lot of the standard
which is good.
stuff, which was normal in the day, has been taken away for probably just insurance or whatever the deal is, or just general safety.
Or love of children. I mean, everything, to this point, everything was made of steel or metal, right? Period. That's how it was. So even if you got on the slide, if you went up to your school in the summer, right, there's nobody there, you're like, cool, we'll take advantage of this. You sit on the slide in shorts and realize I think it's 8,000 degrees because the sun's been beating on it. I remember falling up. You call it the jungle gym. It's kind of that geodesic dome-looking thing that you kind of climb up.
Yeah.
And I remember falling through that, and it was during the summer. I just fell through it because I'm a kid and I'm stupid, but I went through and hit my face on like 3 of the bars before I hit the ground. And it's not that it caused any damage, but it hurt like a mofo. And then
Were
my
you a
kids,
C student?
I was a C student when I did well. But then, take your kids to Maple Leaf or something like that. It's all plastic. Now, you can still hurt yourself.
Yeah.
Like, hurting yourself at the playground is the easiest thing to do.
And even like the
but
nets are smaller.
We didn't even have...
we had it seemed like the tallest slide also had a fireman's pole on it.
Yes. Which
in retrospect, they don't even let firemen have fireman poles anymore.
No, but you'd have to jump through 2 feet, 3 feet to get to that pole, and then you'd slide.
And you would. It was like the dare you did with your buddies.
Absolutely.
And the way kids played, and I'm sure it's probably the same thing now, essentially, you could do something like that where you're going to jump this distance, grab this thing, and try to stick the landing, as it were. And everyone did it up until someone got injured. That's when it was time to go home.
If you go to an old school fire station that still has a pole, at the bottom of that pole, there are 4 or 5 old mattresses.
Oh, yeah.
That they've got, laying around the bottom so nobody gets hurt.
Because if you put a group of dudes in a place that has a pole, they're going to slide down.
The one that is the most disappointing to me is just the municipal pool situation. So growing up, they always had that little water slide that kind of curves around a little bit.
Yeah.
It has the water running down it.
I think that was the only plastic slide you could find.
But the muni pool that we had also had about a 10, 12 footer that was a silver, just straight shoot slide. So, you kind of went up there and got it wet with your bathing suit and then slid down it, and enough kids were in line that it pretty much stayed wet all the time. Then there was the regular diving board, which might have been 6 feet, 4 feet high. But then there was the one where you could climb up all the way to the top, and there was a platform up there, probably not as high as what you jumped off. But
No,
it was
it wasn't that high, but
still a higher jump. And those
we had 2 of them.
Those are all gone now, too.
Yeah, probably another good idea. You got
People
wet
smack
feet.
I will say
their
that
head, try to do backflips off of it.
at the Knights of Columbus where I swam, we had you had 2 of the bouncy ones, and there was the high dive. But the only time anybody really got hurt on those was sometimes after Sunday softball. The drunk adults would go in there and slip off the slides or whatever.
What was your first or most memorable injury? 206-803-ROCK.
Hello, Terrell. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola, bitches.
Hola.
All right, so this one's a rough one. Old school, back in the day in Vallejo, California. Me and my sister. Okay, so my mom worked at Trevor. Nope. What's that old school store that's closed nowadays?
Kmart?
Montgomery Ward.
Montgomery Ward.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's a blast from the past.
Sorry, guys. I drank 100 milligrams while I was waiting.
Oh, solid work. Yeah. There's a blast into the future.
Okay, so I used to think I would get in trouble. I didn't think I would get in trouble. My mom was just punishing me so I can watch my sister.
Okay.
So we're outside one day. It's the summer, and my little sister wants to race. I'm like, all right, cool. So we're racing up the hill. I beat her. I say 6 years. My sisters say we're 5 years, 7 months apart, whatever. So now she wants to race downhill. So she thinks running downhill will make her faster. So I'm like, all right, cool, whatever, let's run. And she starts to beat me. And I'm like, you know what? I'm tired of you. I'm tired of letting you beat me. So I'm going to beat you this time. The girl starts veering towards the sidewalk, and I'm like, oh, crap. If my sister falls, my mom's going to kill me. So my sister trips over the sidewalk, and I dive under her, and my whole right nipple scraped off.
Oh, God. Oh, man. You scraped your nipple off of your body.
Off. Like from my collarbone to my rib section is all gone.
Does the nipple know to grow back?
Like, do you have a nipple now?
Yes, it actually grew back.
Okay. I didn't know if it, like, your body knew, like, oh, your nipple's supposed to be here.
Or if it's like, hey, one and done, bro.
Because, I mean, you lose your finger, the body doesn't go, I'm going to grow a finger back, so.
Yeah, why is the body selective about what, like,
Right.
look, I can live with one nipple. I would prefer if you'd grow my finger back. Or if I lose an adult tooth, can you slip that back in?
When I got old enough, I Googled it. I was like, is your nipple supposed to grow back? And Google says no, but I guess I'm different.
How long did it take for your nipple to go? From the time of was it years? Was it back in a week? What?
It took about a year.
Well, you probably didn't get in as much trouble because you were the one who got hurt and not your sister.
Ooh, so I begged her. Because she scraped up her elbow and her knee. So it was just like a regular injury. But when I went back in the house and my mom asked me what happened to me, I told her I did something else because I didn't want to get in trouble.
So you didn't end up going to the hospital or anything?
Oh, hell no. I'd get in trouble.
Okay.
Now, look, thinking back, would you have gotten in less trouble if you told her the truth and said, look, I was trying to protect my sister and basically I sacrificed a nipple?
Oh, I'd have gotten in so much trouble.
Okay. All right.
What is it that you would have gotten in trouble? Because to me, like, look, you might make a dumb decision, right? And obviously, if you're a little kid running down the hill, yes, you will move faster, and then you realize why that's not awesome. But if my kid said, but look, man, I dove under her to save her, and I suffered this injury, I'd be like, all right, well, good on you.
Yeah.
Like, you'd be in less trouble.
What is that dumbass stuff? God. Is it the cheese rolling thing they do? Is it like in Scotland or Ireland?
Yeah, they chase the big
wheel of cheese down the hill.
I think it's in the original Gloucester, isn't it?
Okay. It might be, yeah. They do it every year.
If you've ever seen a video of this, an American apparently, some woman wins every year. She's
won like 3 in a row.
Yeah, she's very good at this.
And durable.
But when you watch this happen, you cannot believe that they don't have like 10 ambulances at the bottom of this hill based on people just barreling down. They all have their own technique. Some are doing shoulder rolls. Some are just kind of running and jumping and all this stuff. But I mean, you wouldn't do this on a bet. You would almost rather run with the bulls. Than run down this hill after a wheel of cheese. I mean,
yeah, it looks horrible.
It looks like you could just take your knee out.
You might be safer with the running of the bulls because there's more people and you know to get out of the way. I mean, the bull might be behind you, but odds are the bull's not going to mess you up with the running of the bull. Still not something I want to do. But with the cheese thing, I feel like odds are you are going to hurt yourself.
Yeah.
Which one would you pick? They say, look, man, you're doing one.
I know people that have run with the bulls. I don't know anybody that's crazy enough to do that cheese race.
Really? So you're picking the bulls?
Yeah, 100%.
Think about I would rather run with a 1,500-pound angry animal that has horns than chase a block of cheese down
Also,
a steep
you
hill.
can say that you ran with the bulls instead of I chased a block of cheese down a hill. People go, I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Right.
At least they know.
Yeah, and you know,
running
like
of the bulls.
you could see, like it's still super dangerous. But the idea is you're supposed to jump out of that or whatever.
Right.
Like running down that hill, it's just
You're supposed to keep chasing.
just gravity doesn't really allow you to do that.
No.
And what do you win? Do you win that
that's what I was
bowl
gonna
of
say.
cheese?
With that cheese.
You do win that cheese.
Just buy
yeah.
the cheese.
Right. Sometimes it's
Well, it's one of those traditions from so long ago. People couldn't afford a whole wheel of cheese. I'm with you. You can afford a wheel of cheese now.
Why do you think that tradition started? Do you think it was something where they said, all right, the peasants want cheese, royalty's not going to give it to them, but if the peasants want it, then you go chase it?
I have no idea, but I like your thinking on it.
I just feel
Chase
like,
it, peasants.
because back in the day, man, if you had a block of cheese and someone rolled it down the mountain, you'd be pissed. Like, dude, that's almost like currency.
It's still in the casing.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. It's got to be like royalty was like, you know what? if you want it that bad, we're going to roll down this hill and let's see, let's see him go chase it down the hill.
What was your first or most memorable injury? 206-803-ROCK.
That's Cooper's Hill cheese rolling.
And do they say what the origin is? I just can't think of why that many people would want to do that unless it's based on the fact that they really needed it or you wanted to avoid starvation or something like that.
Something, I don't know. They found a cheese with a note to the Gloucester Town Crier. Apparently it was an old tradition. They brought it back. I don't know. It just seems like idiots being idiots. Eat some cheese.
Just something to do. I mean, I like cheese. I'm just saying. Hello, Jeff. Welcome to the men's room.
Well, hello. Hola, bitches.
Hola.
Okay, my funniest experience was I went into the Army in 1986 as a crane operator. And then they stationed me in Germany. And there was one crane and 3 operators. So they decided to say, you're going to be a truck driver from now on. And I got to drive flatbed and haul heavy equipment around. And one day, I got a flat tire and we had to change it. And me and my squad leader checked we had a grader on the trailer, a flatbed trailer. And we're checking the chains, and this one chain was a little loose. And I went up there with a breaker bar and just tried to tighten it up, and he let go, and my finger went bang into the back of the grader. Well, I went to a German hospital, and they put some pins in it, and blah, blah, blah. Then I went to the Army doctors, and they said, okay, we'll leave him in for a couple of weeks, and we'll pull the pins out. And my finger was effed up. I didn't swear there. But anyway, so I get ready to get out of the Army. It's right before the Gulf War. I was in the Army hospital. Before the Gulf War, I had 6 surgeries on this finger. They took a piece of bone out of my hip and everything. And after 6 surgeries, they said, do you want to try again? Do you want to leave it like it is or cut it off? I said, cut it off.
Okay, Ronnie Lott.
That's a great one. But so now I only have the second knuckle, but I can drive down the road and look at people, and I can stick my finger up my nose, and people think it's way up there.
So you're good for parties.
Yes.
Just pondering.
Or if I stand in line at Safeway and there's a kid in the cart in front of me, I just stick my finger up, my nub up my nose, and it's hilarious.
Well, I'm glad you can entertain the kids, too. That's.
I mean, kids are the easiest audience to get. How do they determine where they're going to take bone from to repair the bone? Like, do you always go hip first, or is it like,
I don't know,
based on the bone that needs repairing, you go to a different part of the body? Right? Like, if there's.
It's got to be the biggest bone and has the most excess so you can use it and it doesn't affect the rest of your. Or maybe it takes better.
I don't know. I mean, like, your femur's the biggest bone, right? I don't know, because I've heard hip, I've heard all these different parts. It's like, we can use a bone from here and stick it here and make you better.
What was your first or most memorable injury? 206-803-ROCK.
Hiring is a lonely business. Posting jobs, sifting through resumes, interviews with unqualified applicants, being ghosted. What if you could link with dozens of qualified candidates who are ready to work right now with just one connection? That's Express Employment Professionals. Find us at expresspros.com. One connection, the workforce you need. Problem solved. Express Employment Professionals. expresspros.com.
Plug in a Hyundai EV and the extraordinary happens. From the charge time and range in the Ioniq 5 and 6 to the adventurous spirit of the Kona Electric to the 601 horsepower Ioniq 5N. Hyundai EVs make the extraordinary electrifying. There's joy in every journey.
EPA estimated 303-mile driving range for 2024 Ioniq 5 SE SEL Limited rear-wheel drive and 361-mile driving range for 2024 Ioniq 6 SE long-range rear-wheel drive with fully charged battery. Actual range may vary. Visit HyundaiUSA.com or call 562-314-4603 for more details.
Yeah, sure thing. Hey, you sold that car yet?
Yeah, sold it to Carvana.
Oh, I thought you were selling to that guy.
The guy who wanted to pay me in foreign currency, no interest, over 36 months? Yeah, no. Carvana gave me an offer in minutes, picked it up, and paid me on the spot. It was so convenient.
Just like that.
Yeah?
No hassle.
None.
That is super convenient.
Sell your car to Carvana and swap hassle for convenience. Pickup fees may apply.
Auto insurance rates are on the rise, which is why you should call Vern Fonk Insurance. Vern Fonk could save you up to 20% on your auto insurance. The pros at Vern Fonk will do all the work, comparing different plans to find you the best options. And they can insure you over the phone. One call to Vern Fonk could save you up to 20%. Call 206-408-5094. 206-408-5094.
Remember to honk when you drive by Vern Fonk.
Restrictions apply based on a Q3 2023 study of Vern Fonk Insurance customers who reported saving when they switched. License number 1070622.
This podcast is brought to you by Kleenex Lotion Tissues. You can't predict sick days, but with Kleenex Lotion Tissues, you can be better prepared for them while helping keep your skin healthy. Whether it's a surprise sneeze or a stuffy nose, it's always good to have something gentle on hand. Kleenex Lotion Tissues moisturize to help prevent skin irritation while you're battling those unwanted cold and flu symptoms. It's extra care when you need it most. I mean, why not have one less thing to worry about when you're not feeling your best? For whatever happens next, grab Kleenex.
99.9 KISW. The men's room returns with Miles and Thrill.
Okay, Sit and Spin coming up at 4:30 today. The 10 greatest yacht rock songs of all times. Let's go. We hit the water. Sail the 7 seas. Sit and Spin on the way at 4:30 right after emails on our question. What was your first or most memorable injury? 206-803-ROCK.
Hello, Brian. Welcome to the men's room.
Guten Tag, bitches.
Hola.
How the heck are you guys doing today?
We're doing great, man. Thank you, man.
Hi. Well, I had quite a few stories, but this got picked out. I was probably 7 years old, living in Lakewood, and I found an arrow, one of the metal-tipped ones, not the arrowhead, but just had the metal tip on it. Running around playing with my friends, and I climbed up on this big wooden gate. And one of the kids walked by, and he shook it. And I said, yeah, I bet you can't shake it and make me fall off. And, boy, he started wailing on it. Next thing, I lost my balance and fell off. And I let go of the arrow. And being in Washington, you know, wet, soft ground, the butt end of the arrow stuck into the ground. And I fell on top of it. The arrow went somehow between my eyeball and my socket.
No!
And broke off. I go running home, open the front door. My mom's there. I don't know how she didn't have a heart attack with the blood running down my face and a broken arrow sticking out of my eye socket.
Yeah, that would be a weird one.
Is it better that you did it yourself, so to speak, versus your friend fired an arrow and hit you in the eye socket?
Yeah, I suppose. You know,
Did you ever have any problems with your vision, or was everything okay?
Everything was okay. Like I said, it missed my eyeball. Right between the eyeball and the
yeah, but it's still going toward your brain.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
Were you a C student?
Well, that could explain a couple of things.
Yeah, I was going to say. You look back and you go, maybe that had something to do with it.
At least your mother stayed calm, man, years ago. And I just had an allergic reaction to something. I was like 5 years old. And my perspective was just that my eyes were itching a lot. And it got to the point that I stopped playing with my friends and I went home to complain to my mother that my eyes were itching. And I always remember she's in the living room and I just got, the straight up scream. She did not stay calm at all. The way she explained it, like I wasn't bleeding out of my eyes. She just said my eyes had swollen so big, it looked like they were popping out of my head.
Like a thyroid.
Yeah, like a thyroid or a frog or whatever. And I remember she freaked out, which made me nervous. Then I started crying because I'm like, oh my God, what's wrong? They never let me look in the mirror. So I don't know how ridiculous it looked. But as far as, try to be calm.
Do you know what caused the reaction?
I'm not sure, man, but I think because we weren't in the woods at this time, but it was kind of a field, and The only thing I could think that I saw that seems like I may have done this is something I've been around a million times since then, but it's, what do they say? It looks like a blade of grass. They grow in little clumps together, but they get like 3-4 feet tall, and they have those fuzzy caterpillar-looking fronds on top. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm talking about?
Talking about a pussy willow?
Maybe, but it wasn't. Pussy willow's a tree, right?
No, it's like that long hot dog looking thing on it.
That's kind of fuzzy?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I mean, that's the only thing I can remember that was there, but we lived in Rochester at the time. They were every freaking where, and that's the only time I had a reaction. Maybe there was something else out there, some other weed, but it was nothing I saw or can remember. But she freaked out bad on that. And then the first injury I had, it looked worse than it was. It's roughly about the same age, lived in the same house, we're playing hide and go seek, and I'm running from he found me, and I'm trying to run back to home base or however that thing plays out. But I'm kind of looking behind me, and when I turned around to keep running, I ran into the back of his parents' station wagon, but they had a bike rack that had a little hooks that come out, and it cut me under my eye, right? But I immediately grabbed my eye. I'm crying as kids do, and there's blood coming through my hand, so when I went into the house at that time, it's the exact same reaction. She freaks out. My father, luckily he was there. He's kind of calm because he always is. And when they kind of wiped the blood away, he's like, man, it's just a cut. Like, I didn't have to go to the hospital for it, but she was not good at keeping it together in times that it would have been really nice for her to keep it together.
Grandfather, I've told this
story. It's not a mom's
before.
drug suit.
I will say my wife does pretty well with that. She, at least up front, right? She will, she'll be very calm for the kids, and then she'll call me over, and then I will stay calm, and then she will go elsewhere and either call 911 if we need that, or cry if she needs that, or throw up. But at least initially, for the kids' sake, she stays calm until she's out of eyesight.
My grandfather, he was swinging me around, and both my shoulders popped out of socket. So he was holding me by the hands and spinning. And I was like, pop, pop, and I'm like, and I could barely even scream.
So you do remember this?
And he's still spinning me around, and I think he could see the look on my face, like, and I think he felt it. Because it was like one after the other.
You got a little farther away?
So end up going to the ER, and I'm probably like in 3rd, 4th grade, whatever the deal is. They put him back in. I don't remember really being that painful.
Them popping him back in?
Once they were in, it just felt like nothing happened. You know, like it felt like, because I was like 3 days later, I'm at Little League practice. And so basically, you just, meet up with your friends, you go down, you have a practice. We played maybe 1 or 2 games a year. But at this time, one of my buddy's younger sisters had been attacked by one of the dogs that ran free in the neighborhood. And she got bit pretty bad. I think the dog bit her on the face and her neck and her shoulder and everything else. She got pretty tore up. But her brother played baseball with me. And so we were both equally, and we lived pretty close. So when we walked home, we were equally paranoid about walking just home at that point in time.
Yeah.
And I know for a fact that the family was addressed about their dog, and from what I understand, the guy who owned the dog and owned the house did not care.
Back in that time,
that's generally how it goes.
They do not care.
So we were still on alert that the dog was not on a leash, or we knew the dog was still free roaming and had already attacked his sister, blah, 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 blah. So my grandfather, he said, well, I'll give you a ride home or whatever the deal is. Well, this is like 2 or 3 days later after he popped my shoulders out. So I'm still kind of scared because I'm like, I don't even know if I can defend myself.
Yeah.
He walked down, and we were about a half mile away from where the practice was. And my grandfather walked me and my buddy back, and the dogs came out again. And my grandfather was a post office employee. He was a postman for his entire life.
So he already knows how to deal with this crap.
It was like Obi-Wan Kenobi. And we hadn't, I don't think Star Wars, maybe it was out, I don't know. But he just had this way of stopping that dog about 50 feet away from us. And the dog just kind of put its tail between its legs and ran home. And it was the damnedest thing I've ever, and later on, because my grandparents were retired, they'd spend, weeks at a time with us and hang out and everything else. I come home one day, he's petting the dog.
The dog that attacked?
Yeah, on the front porch. And from that point in time on, we never had a problem with that dog anymore. It was the damnedest thing, man. I just remember the sequence of events. Buddy's sister gets basically her face half ripped off. He takes out both of my shoulder blades, and next thing you know, he's sitting on the damn porch petting the dog that basically destroyed my buddy's sister's face.
I don't understand. Like, dogs have been taught for years. There's a dog named Fritz, big-ass Doberman. Normally he's on a chain, but always outside. Scared to live him. But Jesus out of me, man. After 3 years in a row. Winter, spring, summer, fall, this thing. And everything says, I want to kill you. And even though it's on that big-ass chain, you're just not comfortable because I'm a little kid. And I'm waiting for the bus one day, and I realized that Fritz is walking across the street, and the chain is dragging behind him. So somehow I'd broken the chain, and I'm like, oh, my God, like, this is the end of my life. So I'm kind of petrified. I'm standing still. Fritz comes up to me, gets up on its hind legs, and, like, hugs me. I swear to God. And it hugged me until the bus got there, and the bus gets there. Fritz dropped back down to all fours. I get on the bus, goes back across the street, and Fritz did that probably for about the next 9 months before he died. And I don't know.
All right.
But it's not like I ever went up and greeted him. It's not like I ever gave him a treat. Just one day, the day he finally broke the chain and he could have killed me, which he seemed very clear in his intent for the 36 months we'd interacted. For whatever reason that day, he says, I'm just funding you, man.
Yeah, he just wanted to aggressively hug you.
It wasn't like an aggressive hug, but it became every morning where I'd walk outside and there's Fritz waiting for me now and would just give me this hug. I'm like, what in the hell happened? And why were you so essy for the first 3 years?
I mean, I think it goes the other way, too. I got a buddy that had a giant dog for a while, and this dog was super nice to me. But I remember once the dog was sick, and I went over to, like, pet it, and it just was like, no.
Yeah, when dogs get sick or injured, they definitely change their opinion. I had a dog. I had to take the dog to the vet because for 2 years that I had him, he never barked. And I'm like, I just don't know if there's something wrong with him. And the vet did whatever vets do and just said, man, there's nothing wrong with the dog. The dog doesn't care. And this dog, a big-ass Belgian Shepherd, didn't have to take it on a leash. Whatever you asked the dog to do is what the dog did. I remember I got the Sunday paper once. I told, hey, sit down outside of the store. I go in the store, I buy the paper. I forgot he's with me. And it's one of those stores that's just not street level. You had to go down like 4 or 5 stairs. So I'm kind of reading the paper. I walk by my dog, go up the stairs, turn the corner. Then I'm like, oh, crap. I go back. He's still sitting there waiting for me because I had said sit and did not at any point say, hey, come on. So I was like, come on, we go home. Well, one day it is super hot. It is Baltimore hot. It's like 98 degrees. And he always loved chasing sticks in the park. And I throw the stick. So just keep in mind, his testicles are hanging because it's hot. And I throw the stick bounces, and it goes over like this 3-foot wrought iron fence kind of thing. And he jumps over the fence, and he grabs the stick. But keep in mind, he had a running start to go get the stick. But when he's coming back to the park, he's just going to try to do the leap over. And his testicle hits the fence, all right? But you hear it go like, pong. And the dog lands flat on its belly, all 4 legs out. I walk up to, because I'm kind of smiling, like, oh, dude, are you okay? And I put my hand up like I'm going to scratch his head. It's the only time. And I was like, I understand, all right? Yeah. So it took him about 10 minutes to recover. Again, it's just like a dude getting hit in the nuts, right? Until you're ready to go, you're in that fetal position. So he's just kind of, like I said, just flat on the grass. I know those, like, I can't touch him because he's in a mood, and I can completely relate to this. We've all been there. Dog gets up, drops the stick, does not even look at me, and just walks straight home. He was just like, I'm done. I'm done. We got home. He climbed on the couch, which normally I didn't let him on, but again, I'm going to be kind of cool this time, and just curled up in a ball. That was his day.
This is another weird physical thing. Like, you've been in that situation where you're having sex, and basically they turn into clackers.
Oh, yeah.
You know, if you're really in the right position, the right mood, and, you know, they can be manhandled and everything else, but just one slight graze.
The graze is worse.
And the next thing you know, man, you are curled up in a ball. I mean, I don't know how they know.
I don't know they know, but
this is acceptable behavior right now, or...
The last time I took a shot directly to it, because it had been years, man. You get older, you tend to avoid that stuff. You're not doing the same stuff. My kid's 3 years old. We're wrestling around in the bed. He slips in his forehead. I mean, just smashes him dead on. So I'm like, okay, hang on, man. I put him to the side, and he's looking at me. And first I'm laying in bed, and your hands instinctively go over your junk. Then my body starts kind of collapsing in on itself to the fetal position. And I don't know why this makes any difference, but I knew that I had to get out of bed and lay on the floor. I'm going to assume the exact same position like I'm in fetal, and then I just slither onto the floor, and I'm just curled up. And my son, he's peeking off the bed like, are you okay? Did I do anything? I said, man, I'm fine. He's like, what happened? I said, I can't really explain it to you, but when it happens to you, you'll understand. It's about 3 years past. We're playing soccer. He takes one to the Jimmy. I mean, he just drops like a sack of potatoes. And I'm like, hey, man, do you remember all those years ago? And he vaguely did. I said, that. Like that thing you were asking me what happened. I'm like, what's happening to you now? It was that. So I'm just going to leave you alone until you're good.
What was your first or most memorable injury? 206-803-ROCK.
Hello, Marcus. Welcome to the men's room.
Hi.
Hola.
Okay, man. I've listened to you guys for years. This is my first time calling.
Hey, appreciate it, man. Thank you, brother.
You want my first or most memorable?
Most memorable.
Okay. Here about, 12 years ago, my brother's dogs were fighting. He's got one large Rottweiler and one large Pyrenees. Both these dogs are bigger than I am, but they're fighting. He's not there. His girlfriend is. So I jump into the melee, and I have one under each arm. The one bites me in the pinky finger of the left hand. You guys still there?
Yeah, man. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Okay, so, and being a man, I don't go to the hospital.
Of course not.
No, I wait about 4 months. Until I can't use my finger anymore.
When it doesn't bend, you can't feel it, what?
It does nothing. Like, it is a finger, but it does not move. It does not bend. You're correct. Okay. Same brother. His child was born, and there's a little bit of lapse in time, so I decided I'll just go to the ER and have my finger checked out. I do this, and it turns out that I have infection in my bone marrow.
Oh.
Yeah, it was ugly. And they had, at the end of the day, they had to take they had to scrape the whole bone off that finger. And then put a PICC line. Then put a PICC line into my vein on my elbow, all the way to my heart, which I had to run antibiotics in for 6 months, every 4 hours. So I'd have to wake up 3 times a night. Yeah, that was kind of ugly.
Yeah, that sounds terrible.
Yeah, it's a bone marrow infection. Mike, hey, I'm going to tell you what. Do me a favor.
Yeah.
We edit the guy's call, take out all the dead in between.
Yeah.
And I bet you it's a good story.
Oh, it was. It was
I
very
got attacked.
story.
Most people say, man, I got attacked by my brother's dog. I waited 4 months. Turns out I have an infection in my bone marrow. That's significant.
The 101's a great drive.
Into my heart, man. I got to wake up every 3
I
hours.
want to save a pinky.
But if you just cut out all the breaks,
oh, yeah.
It's a good story. That takes a lot less time.
The drive down, the drive down the 101's a beautiful drive, but if you're sitting in traffic, it kind of loses its luster.
I feel like that's like Obama telling you the same story. Dog with my pinky.
Oh, boy.
And then 4 months later, I went to the doctor.
What was your first or most memorable injury? 206-803-ROCK.
Hello, Brandon. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola.
Hola.
So this was my first injury. It was about last year in about March. And I had the great idea. I decided to go to a military school down in Texas. I was 19, and they had a program to be a pilot, and I really wanted to be a pilot back then. So I went down there. It was a 9-week program for boot camp, and I wasn't in the best shape and started to develop shin splints. And after a little bit, just kept on working and working, and it got worse and worse and worse. And then during a 6-hour hike that they took us on, I slipped on some gravel, and the muscles in my calf were so tight that it sheared my bone, about 2-inch shear on my tibia.
God.
And I could not walk, could barely hobble. And 2 of my drill instructors grabbed me and made me finish the hike for the next 3 hours. And after the hike, we camped out in the woods for a week. They wouldn't take me to the doctor. I was screaming in pain the whole time. Wouldn't take me to the doctor, so they gave me a couple of wooden crutches. And one of the crutches broke, so I was hobbling around on one crutch, getting yelled at in boot camp.
This sounds so sad.
I know.
You got sad music, Miles?
I sure do.
I got one crutch.
This is like Charlie Brown goes to boot camp.
But it's a military school, so I'm guessing the rules are different. They can just treat them any way they want.
Yeah, it just started as shin splints, was kind of ridiculous, but I'm assuming they just didn't know how bad it was. And then when they took me to the doctor after that week of camping, they finally came to their senses and sent me home. So,
what exactly is a shin splint? Are the bones cracking? I mean, what is it?
It's like a shock pain that you get, but it feels like it involves your bones more than your muscles.
But I mean, like, what has happened to the bone where they can determine? Like, it's one thing to be in pain; it's another thing to say you have blank, and then they can explain
when
what
you
blank
when
is.
you step, you feel a shock up to your.
I mean, it is so painful.
So it refers to a pain along the shin bone in the lower leg, usually caused by repetitive stress from activities like running, often due to overuse or sudden increase in exercise intensity, resulting in inflammation of the muscles and tendons attached to the shin bone.
Okay, all right,
yeah.
That's why you'll see a lot of times, like in the first couple of weeks, especially in football, people will have because of like the camp over the summer and this and that, and just you've been training, but you haven't been training like that.
Yeah,
I got a story.
And not only that, when you're wearing cleats or hiking boots or a lot of those things at least back in the day, not necessarily the best support like shoes and boots have now, and cleats have now. So it's almost like your feet were in there without an insole.
Okay.
So when you take that pounding, it's the equivalent of like a plantar issue. Where we're coming up from your heel, but it still feels like that shooting pain up your legs. So every time you step, it's like pins and needles, but with pain. You're numb, but it's a shooting pain.
Yeah, and like you can kind of rehab it, but then sometimes you'll be halfway through practice or a run, and they'll hit, and you'll be like, "Oh, gotta stop."
Yep, they're still here.
Did they make you keep doing it? They give you broken crutches?
You can't really. I mean,
generally
you
in
can explain
sports, they'll kind of let you stop. But he was at a military school, so
yeah. What's up? What was your first or most memorable injury? 206-803-ROCK.
Hello, Justin. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola, gentlemen.
Hola.
So I was at my buddy's house, and I don't know, I think I was like 8 or 10, and he had one of those like wooden climbing structures, and it was right next to his dad's shed. So he had the idea of let's jump off of the 10-foot climbing structure onto the roof of the shed and just hang out on the roof of the shed. I was like, oh yeah, that sounds great. He's a little skinny guy. I'm a little fat ass. So he gets on no freaking problem. I'm like, nope, I got this. I slip a little on the way off and bang off the side of the roof and then push off to try to land safely. And that ended up pushing my back up against the side of the wooden play structure and slicing my back open about, 10 inches.
I'm guessing that's a hospital visit?
Oh, yeah. And the best part was that his dad wasn't even home. He was the babysitter. So, he crawled. Well, he ran back into the house. I'm crawling to the house, and she comes out and goes, oh, my God, what the hell is going on? I'm like, well, my back's cut open. I'm bleeding everywhere. I think I need my parents or something. And, they called my parents. They picked me up and, go to the hospital. And I think it was 20 stitches and, a bunch of gauze and no summer activities involving water for a couple months.
Not only that, but when you're a kid, it seems like all the babysitters are attractive.
Well, they kind of are.
And you embarrass yourself in front of the girl that you'd like to meet her friends.
Well, if you still have a babysitter, the babysitter has something kids in your close class don't.
Yes.
You know what? That's good. If you're young enough to have a babysitter.
That's what I remember. It's like all these babysitters have boobs.
Yeah.
You guys should go out to dinner more often.
Yeah, exactly.
We can watch what we want. Still to come, we've got the 10 greatest yacht rock tunes of all times on the way with Sit and Spin at 4:30. And your email's coming up next from the men's room at KISW.com.
The brand new Grand Casino and Shoreline is now open. Step into the action with Vegas-style table games like Baccarat, Heads Up Hold'em Poker, Pai Gow, Blackjack, and High Card Flush. Feeling hungry? Feast on delicious Chinese, Vietnamese, and continental dishes, plus breakfast favorites. Dine in or take out. And don't miss daily happy hours from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. and 10 p.m. to midnight. Grand Casino and Shoreline off Aurora. Open daily from 9 a.m. to 4 a.m. Visit GrandCasinoGaming.com. Welcome to the Grand Experience.
Is your team at work feeling a little disconnected? Maybe the workflow's not flowing? Try Confluence by Atlassian. Confluence is the connected workspace where teams can create, organize, and deliver work like never before. In Confluence, teams can whiteboard their vision for any project, easily create or access the relevant pages and resources they need, and discover important context they might not even know they need. Plus, AI helps teams jumpstart brainstorms, organize information, and connect workflows, so teams can move efficiently and create alignment with ease. In fact, with Confluence, teams can see 5.2% average boost in productivity in 1 year. So if your team lacks confidence, try Confluence, the connected workspace where teams can do it all. Set knowledge free with Confluence. Learn more at Atlassian.com/Confluence. That's Atlassian.com/CONFLUENCE.
Presented by T-Mobile, the official wireless partner of Odyssey Sports. With an awesome network and great savings, there's never been a better time to join T-Mobile. Visit your neighborhood store to make the switch today.
Hey, I'm Ben Stiller. I'm Adam Scott. And we make a TV show called Severance. On January 17th, Severance is back for season 2 on Apple TV+, and we can't wait for you guys to see it.
And before the premiere, Ben and I are going to be binging season 1 and putting out daily recap podcasts.
Yep. Each weekday beginning January 7th, we'll be dropping an episode featuring exclusive behind-the-scenes tidbits and brilliant insights from our cast and crew and us.
Patricia Arquette, Britt Lauer, Zach Cherry, John Turturro, the list goes on.
All your favorite Lumen employees, their friends, families, enemies, in your feed every single weekday.
And here's the best part. After that, we're going to keep going. Tune in weekly as we recap every episode of Season 2. The podcast drops on the same day the episode comes out.
It's the Severance Podcast with Ben and Adam.
On Apple Podcasts, the Odyssey app, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Escape to paradise with a relaxing 6-night stay in the iconic islands of Tahiti and Moorea. Enjoy an all-inclusive nonstop flight to Tahiti from Seattle or Los Angeles on Air Tahiti Nui, the world's most immersive travel experience. From the vibrant cabins to the warm and welcoming crew, you will be transported to Tahiti from the moment you step on board. This dream getaway also includes beautiful accommodations, excursions, daily breakfast, all transfers, and more, starting at just $26.95 per person. Call 1-877-468-2448 to book yours today.
Lovers wants to know, ever forget Valentine's Day in the past? Need to make up for it? Do it and them right this time with the perfect pleasure present from Lovers stores. Whether you're looking for spicy toys, alluring lingerie, or exciting accessories, Lovers has it all. Save 20% when you mention unforgettable at one of our 18 Western Washington locations. Offer valid with free Lovers Afterglow Rewards membership until February 28th. Some exclusions apply.
What's up? It's your boy, the Ted Smith. Slow drain being a pain? Call Pinky. That pipe's being a little leaky? Call Pinky. When the toilet won't flush and you're in a rush? Call Pinky. When your shower lost all its spray power? Call Pinky. When your sink's on the blink? Call Pinky. Pinky's Plumbing promises to lick all your plumbing problems quick. So when your plumbing backs up and things get stinky, call Pinky's. Pinky'sPlumbing.com.
Are you a bartender that dreads the phrase, hey, can you put the game on? At Sports on What, we understand your pain and we're here to help. Over-the-air, satellite, cable, or streaming, Sports on What knows what channel the game is on, and you can too. Follow your favorite teams, set alerts, and filter by provider to get the results you need. Stop wasting time searching and never miss kickoff again. Just download the Sports on What app, and you'll always know how to watch the game. Available for Android and iOS. Start your 7-day free trial when you download Sports on What and subscribe today.
The debauchery rolls on. You're listening to The Men's Room with Miles and Thrill. 99.9 KISW.
10 greatest yacht rock songs of all times coming up. We'll sit and spin at 4:30. But first time for a few emails from The Men's Room at KISW.com.
You've got mail. You've got mail.
I had a couple from our question about injuries. Guys, back when I did security at an establishment that served alcohol, I pulled my groin while dealing with a woman. One of the regulars showed up with a lady, and after a while, one of his baby mamas arrived. An argument turns into a fight, which is when I have to catch this lady and carry her outside. Well, she grabbed a hold of the door frame, and when I twisted my body to rip her hands off, that's when I pulled my groin. The thing is, she was tiny, maybe 110 pounds, but she had a kung fu grip on the door frame. And from Big Pun in Kennewick. Guys, I was 5 or 6 or so. My brother was 3 or 4. We were at our friend's house, which was being remodeled. My brother ended up throwing a piece of rebar against a propped-up sheet of plywood. The rebar ricocheted off the plywood and hit him right between the eyeballs. Oh. He got a Harry Potter-looking scar now, and he was millimeters from losing an eye. He also flew off a cliff on an ATV and got airlifted to Harborview. The scar kind of looks like lady parts. Attached is a picture. Lots of love, guys. That from Morgan. Did you see the picture?
I did. That's the one you had pulled up?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Looked pretty bad.
Mm-hmm. Trampoline wrestling. Older brothers in my teens, my cousins, and I would do WWE-style wrestling on the trampoline. One day I kept getting tripped up and ended up banging the back of my head on the outside part of the trampoline and cut my head wide open. Ended up going to the emergency room, got 2 staples to close the wound, took those staples out 7 to 10 days later, and still have the scar to this day. Advice: never wrestle on the trampoline or else someone is going to the emergency room.
Guaranteed.
Good times. Down the hole, boys. That from Maverick. As we move on to the birthday shout-outs. Guys, I want to wish my son Dennis a happy 3,288th day, or his 9th birthday. So can he get a little kid face sandwich of Mickey and Goofy advising him on his last year in the single digits? Thanks, guys. That from Dennis.
Fish challenge!
Well, guys, I sure hope you enjoyed that last single digit of your life, because once you hit double digits, we charge you a little extra down here at Disney World. It becomes, well, the 3rd happiest place on earth.
Oh, what is that?
Mickey, how many cigarettes you been smoking, buddy?
Victor's struggling a little bit. Hell, once you turn 10, you're probably going to have to get a job.
Mickey's been hitting the old mouse juice.
You guys don't hire anybody.
I thought I could do it.
Happy birthday to my amazing badass wife, Kayla. We know Kayla. She works her butt off, and her daughter Elle and I are so lucky to have her. She does not want the dirty Germans or anything. Maybe just all you guys talking all over each other about how great she is. She does not like public recognition for anything. So I just like to embarrass her when I can, because even though she doesn't like it, she needs to know that she's loved by many. Thanks, guys. That from Andy Mack. Well, I'll tell you this.
I'll tell you what, we had a big-ass staff meeting the other day, and once they announced her name, biggest applause that we got out of everybody that works in her likes her. I mean, I'm the only person that doesn't like her, and I don't even know why.
Appreciate it. And what do we got here? I want to send a shout-out to my little bro, Baruch Barahona. He is turning 36 and newly single. If Coach Ted could talk him up on enjoying being single and to enjoying the year to come, and if Miles can throw in some dad jokes, that would be great. Thanks to you guys for doing what you do. You brighten our days. Keep kicking ass. Plus, Thrill, we still have that French onion soup waiting for you, man. Lots of love. That from Big Bro Sam.
Oh, there's a lot of advantages to being single. Number 1, you can go home and just chill out and have to answer to buddy. Number 2, you can travel around. You can go see all types of entertainment venues, if you will, and enjoy them all. Number 3, probably your bank account. That probably stays a little better. Then, I don't know, do you want to go take a trip? Take it!
Man, you make me upset. I'm married.
Yeah, right?
Dad jokes. Guys, over the weekend, guess what? I had sex with a Navy girl.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I told her, thank you for your cervix. What generation does Forrest Gump belong to?
What generation does Forrest Gump belong to?
Janae. Thank you, Christine, for sending that
well
one
done,
in.
Mike. Well done.
Appreciate that one. Maybe one more. One more dad joke. Okay, I'm going to go with this one. Guys, my friend who was a little person just went to rehab for his gambling addiction.
Oh, yeah?
When they get a little out of hand?
No, I called to check on him. They said he was a little better.
He's a little better.
He's a little better.
They always took the under.
Jokes are craps. Charles, I want to wish a fabulous 44th birthday to my handsome husband.
No choice, Mike.
Alex.
I wish I could bet they over.
He has brought our family through a tough year with lots of love and persistence, and is now kicking butt in a new job that he loves. We're all proud of him and grateful he is ours. So would you please give him a happy Chinooka and have the Dirty Germans talk about all the fun to come traveling to Mexico City soon. Thanks so much, guys. That from his loving wife, Kimberly.
Happy Chinooka.
Yeah, I've been to Mexico City twice, and I'll tell you, it is nothing but a good time, not to quote Poison, but I could not help it there. But yeah, Mexico City, go to Contessa and Paloma. Many good-looking people, lots of good food, and it's about the only place in Mexico City where you won't go broke.
Yeah, it's the other thing you'll notice in the Mexico City. It's the fact it's much like the Germans, they enjoy Satuba.
Yeah. Yeah, I will say this. I do not believe in the entire country of Mexico. They have a thing called a noise ordinance. I'd also point out that the 22 million people that live there, none of them are home. They are all on the streets, no matter where you go, no matter the time of day. They're all outside.
The accordion in the tuba reminds me of home.
Yeah, and make sure you take a time. Do not even attempt to drive there. Do not do it.
I believe that.
You will wet yourself.
All right, guys, here you go. Happy, happy, happy birthday. Happy, happy, happy birthday. Happy, happy, happy birthday to you, to you, to you.
Ya's a Dirty Germans, brought to you by Men's Room Original Sausage. Available through Uli's World Famous Sausage, mensroomlive.com, and other fine retailers. Schweinefly.
Hiring is a lonely business. Posting jobs, sifting through resumes, interviews with unqualified applicants, being ghosted. What if you could link with dozens of qualified candidates who are ready to work right now with just one connection? That's Express Employment Professionals. Find us at expresspros.com. One connection, the workforce you need. Problem solved. Express Employment Professionals. expresspros.com.
Wow.
What's up?
I just bought and financed a car through Carvana in minutes.
You? The person who agonized 4 weeks over whether to paint your walls eggshell or off-white bought and financed a car in minutes?
They made it easy. Transparent terms, customizable down and monthly. Didn't even have to do any paperwork.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Hey, have you checked out that spreadsheet I sent you for our dinner options?
Finance your car with Carvana and experience total control. Financing subject to credit approval.
Is your team at work feeling a little disconnected? Maybe the workflow's not flowing? Try Confluence by Atlassian. Confluence is the connected workspace where teams can create, organize, and deliver work like never before. In Confluence, teams can whiteboard their vision for any project, easily create or access the relevant pages and resources they need, and discover important context they might not even know they need. Plus, AI helps teams jumpstart brainstorms, organize information, and connect workflows, so teams can move efficiently and create alignment with ease. In fact, with Confluence, teams can see 5.2% average boost in productivity in 1 year. So if your team lacks confidence, try Confluence, the connected workspace where teams can do it all. Set knowledge free with Confluence. Learn more at Atlassian.com/confluence. That's ATLASSIAN.com/CONFLUENCE.
99.9 KISW. The shenanigans continue. This is the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill.
Coming up here in just a few minutes at 5:08, we'll drink and toast with the shot of the day. And we do have your headlines on the way at 5:50. But first, quick check out with Mike Hogg and some of the stories and headlines he is not working on.
Well, thank you, Miles. School buses are slowly getting outfitted with cameras to capture motorists illegally passing.
Yeah. Well, good.
Yeah.
I mean, just for kids' sake, man. Look, I'm super impatient. Years ago, I had to tell my daughter, I'm driving her to school. She's like, Dad, just honk your horn. I said, baby, there are a lot of times I will honk my horn. This is a bad look.
This is nothing. Yeah, oh, yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Just cuss under your breath like everyone else. But no, do not honk your horn.
Leave a little bit earlier so that you can beat the buzz.
You can't. I swear to God. I feel like there's like 8 of them that drive around the neighborhood. I don't even know if they're picking up kids. But like, we're just going to stop.
They just wait.
And put out the sign.
We had one in our area that coming out of Enumclaw that there was a turnout where if you were lucky enough to catch that spot, it would just hit that turnout, let everybody go by them real quick, and then they jump back into the road.
There's one in my neighborhood. If I know what time I could beat it.
Yeah.
I mean, you actually adjust your schedule around like, hey, kids, we got to go now. No, we got to go now. I don't care if you don't have shoes on. Get in the damn car and put them on in there.
A new study out of OSU found that venting doesn't actually reduce our anger. So you might feel better after, you scream and yell about it and holler whatever it is that made you upset, but it doesn't change the fact that you're upset.
No. It doesn't, but I mean, it
feels better to get it off your chest.
It's like stubbing your toe. Screaming an expletive at the top of my lungs does not make my toe feel better, but somehow that was still a very necessary
it's
thing.
like if you go to counseling. You might not be screaming and yelling at your counselor, the person you talk to, but it helps to talk about it and just...
The problem is still there.
Yeah, it's not going away,
Right.
but it just helps to express yourself and get it off your chest.
And that's kind of what it's talking about. Yes, you feel better because you did get it off your chest. However, the problem is still there. Go fix the problem.
Why do they tell people that?
Because people don't understand
No,
that.
but we know. It's just kind of like, look, I flipped this person off because in a moment it felt good to do.
Yeah.
I'm still angry. You don't need to remind me that I'm still angry. I know I'm still angry. That's why I don't feel bad about having flipped this person off.
Right.
But it's still a very necessary response.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
100%.
all. Let us have our moment, damn it.
We officially know the best state to start a business.
The best state to start a business.
Any ideas in the U.S., the best state to start a business? It's going to blow your mind.
Like Oklahoma or Texas.
You guys are very close. Ted,
Alabama?
I would
guess
think Texas.
Florida.
Florida?
Yeah.
I mean, there's very little regulation. You get a lot of return on your investment. And look,
Plenty
if
of
you're
people down
starting a business, you don't want tons
You
of
don't have to
regulation.
pay your employees.
Yeah, I mean, it's
You
just...
don't have to give them benefits.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a right to work state. You can do whatever you want.
There's a piece in Medical Express that draws a line between the microbiome and inflammation and depression. But that's not all that the microbiome does. Because I've heard about the microbiome.
What is it? I've heard of it.
It's your gut.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Right.
it's all the intestinal stuff in there.
It's like the fecal transplants to help you out.
Exactly. And you hear, especially in this day and age, there's a lot of focus on maintaining your microbiome because the specific ways that a healthy microbiome can be beneficial is you've got a stronger immune system, you've got better digestion, enhanced nutrient absorption, improved mental health, weight management, reduced inflammation, lower disease risk, healthy skin, anti-aging effects. You even get better sleep if you maintain your microbiome there. But how exactly do we get it done?
The Men's Room Top 10. The Men's Room Top 10.
10 ways to strengthen your microbiome. You know, gut bacteria are involved in harvesting energy from food, balancing the good versus bad bacterial composition, manufacturing neurotransmitters such as serotonin, enzymes, and vitamins like vitamin K. Much in the same way a trash panda harvests your garbage, tearing it open and taking particular joy in digesting little Arthur's soiled diaper.
Yeah. Fantastic. So these are ways that you can strengthen your microbiome. At the very bottom of the list, basically, they say to take time for you. Say no more often. Explore meditation, mindfulness, yoga, or Thai. Establishing balance in your life will support your mental and emotional health and optimize your gut and overall health.
I do say no a lot. Let the kids like, Dad, can we have food? No. I mean, it just takes the weight right off.
They say stress can negatively affect your microbiome, and you need a healthy microbiome help you manage your stressors. If you're not careful, and you may get caught in an unhealthy cycle if you do not give yourself time to re-energize.
Yeah. Can you fill this out? No.
Can you do that?
I'm taking a personal minute.
Can I go on a field trip with my friends? No.
No.
I'm helping my microbiome, man.
Right.
Can you do that online curriculum for your job? No.
No.
Can't do it. Can't do it.
Can we play catch? No. Do you want me to be healthy or not?
I'm working on my microbiome, man. Leave me alone.
So we have turned this into a terrible thing.
That's right.
It's not bad parenting. I'm taking time for myself.
Hey, Ted, can you voice this commercial for me? No.
Nah.
Taking care of me.
Do what I got to do.
So they would say no more often. I'm like, then quit your job.
That's right.
Sorry, boss. No, man.
Can't come in on
People
Friday.
keep asking. You have to do this. Why'd you ask?
They say to hit the gym. Your microbes feel that if they're not working hard to keep you healthy, then you should be working hard too. The microbiomes of physically active people are more healthy and diverse. It also has to be said that one of the best ways to de-stress after a long day is by working out. Even just walking for 30 minutes a day could really impact your gut health, and these and help these little microbes continue to make sure that your stress levels are managed and your mental health stays intact.
Might be a little cold for a walk tonight, though, there, Mike. I don't know if I'm going to.
Man, I have been walking each and every night, and it is brisk.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
it's
a little
cold
bit.
as hell.
Yeah, like I said, I rarely say this, but the last couple of times, I'm like, dude, even I'm cold.
I've been
chilly.
trying to hit 10,000 steps every day when I've been on it. I've made it, but sometimes it's a 6,500 step at the end of the day.
Yeah, dude, sir, like taking the dog out last night. I'm like, hey, man, let's sniff in more Essen. Let's get this done.
Get to it.
Getting enough rest is very, very important. Studies have shown that people with erratic sleep patterns run the risk of disrupting their microbiome and running the risk of developing inflammatory diseases. Try to make sure that you get at least 8 hours of sleep a night. Didn't happen last night.
Why is my microbiome so demanding?
It's a very sensitive ecosystem in there, Steve.
God almighty.
And we've all fallen victim to yours. So if you could, improve your gut health just a little bit. That's
pretty good.
I'm very healthy. Gets rid of anything it doesn't want.
Try to cut back on the red meat, they say. Aside from the fact that these days many meat brands are known for raising their livestock with antibiotics, which is detrimental to your gut, there have been several studies that show healthier microbiomes in vegetarians. A vegetarian's gut, for example, will have a significantly smaller number of disease-causing bacteria than that of an omnivore's gut. However, it is unclear if this is due to the lack of meat being consumed or the fact that vegetarians and plant-based individuals tend to consume a great deal more fiber than the average person. So it may not necessarily be that they're omitting meat, just eating a lot better stuff.
Yeah.
Fermented foods are gut-friendly, they say here. Again, these are 10 ways to strengthen your microbiome. Fermented foods are another great source of probiotics. The crowd favorite is yogurt. There are several other options that are a great source of good bacteria. You can also eat things like pickles, kimchi, kefir, is that what it's called? To ensure that you're getting enough live cultures to keep your gut healthy and happy. My wife and I have started this one thing because she saw one of her favorite wrestlers was eating this. It's called Coconut Cult. Have you guys seen this?
I have not.
It is a fermented yogurt that is a chocolate mousse. It's wild.
Well, does it taste good?
No.
Oh,
no, it doesn't.
Like apple cider vinegar. They say, take a tablespoon or a shot
Exactly.
if you can every day. It's probably the same. Most of that stuff you're saying is pickled. So obviously vinegar has something to do with it.
Well, so people
Absolutely.
drink kombucha, right? That seems to be the big thing.
There you go.
It can't be for the taste.
They say to stock up on dietary sources of prebiotics. Prebiotics are food for your microbiome. It's important to feed these little guys to give them the energy that they need to complete their very important task of managing your enteric nervous system. A list that they have here is stocking up on whole grains, apples, leeks, onions, garlic, cocoa extracts, garlic, bananas, asparagus, nuts, seed, red wine extracts, root vegetables, beans, lentils, chickpeas, and green tea extracts.
Why does that be red wine extracts? We cracked open a bottle of red wine last night.
I know. Does
Because
that
I had
not count?
I had a hankering for booze. That was the only booze in the house. So, sir, we opened a bottle, and she had one glass. I had the rest.
Right. She had the glass, you had the bottle, right?
Is that the same as drinking
essentially
the
how it
wine?
worked.
Or is it just the extract?
It says red wine extracts. So I'm
All right.
wondering if like a red wine vinegar counts,
all
you know?
Well, I'm extracted a buzz.
10 ways to strengthen your microbiome. Avoid antibiotics. It says if probiotics are your gut's best friend, then antibiotics are your gut's worst enemy. Antibiotics work by wiping out any and all bacteria, which makes them very effective for treating illnesses, but very bad for your microbiome. The antibiotic cannot recognize the difference between good gut bacteria and bad bacteria. They work on a kill now, ask questions later model. Try to buy meat products that were raised without antibiotics. If you do have to take an antibiotic, make sure to take a probiotic daily for the duration of your prescription to help replenish your gut bacteria. I don't think it's going to kill you to take an antibiotic to kill whatever it is in you, and then just go right back to making your gut health.
Right.
I was going to say, I think nowadays, I feel like if anybody's taking an antibiotic as an adult, it's just because you are sick.
Exactly. You've got some sort of an infection or some sort of virus that you need to get the hell out of there. So,
And you don't care what part of you is killed in the process.
Right. So, avoid antibiotics when you can. If you need to, by all means, take the antibiotic.
Yeah, I don't know anyone who just takes them regularly.
Right. Probiotics are great for your gut, they say. Probiotics are chock full of live bacteria that'll help ensure that your gut is populated by mostly the good types of microbes. You can get a good probiotic supplement at your local health food store. However, make sure that you ask your doctor what strains of cultures are best for you and the condition that you're trying to treat.
All right.
I don't... I'm okay with just feeding it whatever it needs to be fed. I don't think we need to really get in the weeds about what I've got going on down there. So, there you go. They say to cut out sugar and avoid processed foods.
Oh, they say that about everything.
Hey.
Pretty
Just
standard.
safe bet.
Fast digesting sugars, otherwise known as monosaccharides. Monosaccharides.
If you can't say it, it's not important.
Are digested so quickly that your little microbes don't get a chance to take a bite out of them. If you eat too many simple sugars too regularly, you run the risk of literally starving your microbiome to death. Additionally, hungry microbes will resort to munching away at the lining of your intestine, which can lead to inflammation.
Why are you in me?
Right.
Look, you're in me, man. Can we make a deal? Like, don't eat away at me because I didn't eat the diet you want. Right. I'm offering. You came to my restaurant. This is what's on the menu, homie.
That's right.
Like, sorry.
We have chili. Eat the chili.
By the way, just a quick note. I had to fly out of town Friday morning. I'm sitting at the bar. I know you're shocked. And I hear a guy. I don't look at him. But it's about 9:30, and I hear them ask, what would you like to eat? And he takes a bowl of chili. And I thought, brother...
What time is this?
It's 9:30 a.m. You're going to get on a flight with people, and you're ordering a bowl of chili. I just thought to myself, like, why do we offer chili at airports?
Yeah.
I mean,
on the breakfast menu.
It never crossed my mind until I heard this guy say it, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, please don't be on my flight, man.
And I know that we're talking about the gas that he's going to release later, but even then, if there's like onions in there, the seasonings that they're using, he's going to be leeching that crap out of the flight.
It's a bowl of chili. He's been up all night, stuck in that airport because he's eating. That seems odd to order chili that early in the morning.
They had other offerings, man. If they said the only thing we have to eat is chili before you get on the flight with 200 other people in an enclosed aluminum tube with recycled air, it'd be like, I get it.
The leftover chili is not something you eat cold.
Right.
No.
Thrill's right. He wanted that chili.
He wanted.
He sat down and he wanted that chili.
He looked through the menu and ordered. Jesus, why do we have chili at airports?
Oh my God! And then this is the number one way to strengthen your microbiome. I'm sorry, Steve.
Oh, no.
But if you're going to take time for you also have to make sure to eat your vegetables, especially the large leafy green ones. Vegetables are loaded with fibers which cannot be digested by people, but are consumed by the good bacteria in your gut.
So wait a minute. So my bacteria essentially wants to be at a vegetarian restaurant, which is not what I opened to my body.
Correct. No,
so
yours
they
is
can
probably
eat
dead,
leafy
bro.
greens. I don't have a microbiome.
You don't have one anymore. It has been observed that people who follow a diet rich with fruits and vegetables are less likely to grow disease-causing bacteria. Some great examples of vegetables that feed your microbes are leeks, onions, asparagus, broccoli, spinach, and artichokes. They really want you to get on the leeks
and onions.
You eat leeks and onions?
Yeah, I got no problem with those.
Okay.
Because they taste like something that's good. Just the other ones, like, no.
You don't like asparagus?
No. Everyone asks me this. I don't know what it is about asparagus lovers, man. They cannot believe.
Because you soak it in butter and garlic, man.
No, you don't have to. Yes, you
It's
do.
still good.
But it's great.
And then wrap it in bacon. Put cheese on it.
Well, sure. And it's, bacon wrapped asparagus is going to be much better.
Oh, man. There's a man in San Antonio that just can't seem to stay out of trouble there, Miles.
What's he been doing?
Tell about it at 5:50.
Thank you, sir. Headlines are coming up at 5:50. In the meantime, have we made it to drinking time?
Somebody out there deserves to be recognized. And the men's room knows just who it is. So to you, we say, bottoms up, sailor. You're the toast of our shot of the day.
Drink time it is, and as usual, we head to the drink desk. And Steve at Thrill Hill to find out who we're toasting. Yes, indeed. And today we toast an unidentified 31-year-old woman from Florida. And I guess really, we're just toasting her for carrying the torch of stupidity. It's almost like there's a single stupid thing that people can do, and when you're done doing the stupid thing, much like a relay race, you pass the baton to the person behind you, and they do the exact same stupid thing. And actually, it's the same. The holidays are over because I have the perfect gift for the dumbest person you know in your life, and it's a bag that says, definitely not a bag full of drugs. You already know where this is going. It might even sound familiar, and I'll explain why. 31-year-old woman in Florida, she was arrested last weekend on a drug possession charge for the second time this month, but this time she was caught carrying the drugs in a bag that was labeled, quote, definitely not a bag full of drugs. And if this sounds familiar, it's because this is the third time this has happened in the past year. A woman was caught with drugs in the exact same bag just a few months ago in October. And in July, a woman was caught with drugs in a bag labeled bag of drugs. Now, for the record, you're not actually supposed to put illegal drugs inside of these. That's why it's supposed to be a joke. And in one listing, they say the bags are designed for travel supplies, tech gear, art tools, cosmetics, and more. The idea is that if you go through TSA or something, they kind of chuckle when they see it is, in fact, not a bag full of drugs. But once again, for the third time in less than a year, we have someone to put their drugs in a bag that specifically says, definitely not a bag full of drugs. Just stop it. So let's drink.
I'm sure it's funny if you don't have drugs in it.
But then they do put, and listen, I like drugs, but I would not put it in a bag that says definitely not drugs. Just because if I'm a cop, I would be like, I want to check that bag.
It's like a Crown Royal bag.
Right.
I know what you have in there.
Just put your change in the Crown Royal bag. It's either change, and as a cop, I just pick it up. If it's heavy, I go, that's the change. If it's not, it's the drugs. But what I won't find is Crown Royal. So let's drink. We pour this booze and we drink this booze because we think it's yummy.
Yummy.
So over the tongue and down the throat to party in our tummies.
Down the hola bichola. All right, let's get a contestant on the line for Profile This at 206-803-ROCK now. Profile This is coming up next.
Plug in a Hyundai EV and the extraordinary happens. From the charge time and range in the Ioniq 5 and 6 to the adventurous spirit of the Kona Electric to the 601 horsepower Ioniq 5N. Hyundai EVs make the extraordinary electrifying. There's joy in every journey.
EPA estimated 303-mile driving range for 2024 Ioniq 5 SE SEL Limited rear-wheel drive and 361-mile driving range for 2024 Ioniq 6 SE long-range rear-wheel drive with fully charged battery. Actual range may vary. Visit HyundaiUSA.com or call 562-314-4603 for more details.
Auto insurance rates are on the rise, which is why you should call Vern Fonk Insurance. Vern Fonk could save you up to 20% on your auto insurance. The pros at Vern Fonk will do all the work, comparing different plans to find you the best options. And they can insure you over the phone. One call to Vern Fonk could save you up to 20%. Call 206-408-5094. 206-408-5094.
Remember to honk when you drive by Vern Fonk.
Restrictions apply based on a Q3 2023 study of Vern Fonk insurance customers who reported saving when they switched. License number 1070622.
This podcast is brought to you by Kleenex Lotion Tissues. You can't predict sick days, but with Kleenex Lotion Tissues, you can be better prepared for them while helping keep your skin healthy. Whether it's a surprise sneeze or a stuffy nose, it's always good to have something gentle on hand. Kleenex Lotion Tissues moisturize to help prevent skin irritation while you're battling those unwanted cold and flu symptoms. It's extra care when you need it most. I mean, why not have one less thing to worry about when you're not feeling your best? For whatever happens next, grab Kleenex.
The brand new Grand Casino and Shoreline is now open. Step into the action with Vegas-style table games like Baccarat, Heads Up Hold'em Poker, Pai Gow, Blackjack, and High Card Flush. Feeling hungry? Feast on delicious Chinese, Vietnamese, and continental dishes plus breakfast favorites. Dine in or take out. And don't miss daily happy hours from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. and 10 p.m. to midnight. Grand Casino and Shoreline off Aurora. Open daily from 9 a.m. to 4 a.m. Visit GrandCasinoGaming.com. Welcome to the Grand Experience. Presented by T-Mobile, the official wireless partner of Odyssey Sports. With an awesome network and great savings, there's never been a better time to join T-Mobile. Visit your neighborhood store to make the switch today.
Escape to paradise with a relaxing 6-night stay in the iconic islands of Tahiti and Moorea. Enjoy an all-inclusive nonstop flight to Tahiti from Seattle or Los Angeles on Air Tahiti Nui, the world's most immersive travel experience. From the vibrant cabins to the warm and welcoming crew, you will be transported to Tahiti from the moment you step on board. This dream getaway also includes beautiful accommodations, excursions, daily breakfast, all transfers, and more, starting at just $26.95 per person. Call 1-877-468-2448 to book yours today.
Lovers wants to know, ever forget Valentine's Day in the past? Need to make up for it? Do it and them right this time with the perfect pleasure present from Lovers stores. Whether you're looking for spicy toys, alluring lingerie, or exciting accessories, Lovers has it all. Save 20% when you mention unforgettable at one of our 18 Western Washington locations. Offer valid with free Lovers Afterglow Rewards membership until February 28th. Some exclusions apply.
What's up? It's your boy, the Ted Smith. Slow drain being a pain? Call Pinky. That pipe's being a little leaky? Call Pinky. When the toilet won't flush and you're in a rush? Call Pinky. When your shower lost all its spray power? Call Pinky. When your sink's on the blink? Call Pinky. Pinky's Plumbing promises to lick all your plumbing problems quick. So when your plumbing backs up and things get stinky, call Pinky's. Pinky'sPlumbing.com.
Anyone know what channel the game's on? We know. Download the Sports on What app today and always know how to watch the game. Satellite, cable, or streaming. Sports on What knows the channel the game is on, and you can too. Subscribe today to start your 7-day free trial. Sports on What? We know.
The Men's Room presents Profile This.
And Steve Thrill Hill, could you please tell everyone how Profile This is played?
I sure can, Miles. It's a simple game where we share with you a real-life news story, something that happened right here on planet Earth. Earth. And as you listen to the story, based on the stereotypes you believe to be true of people and the decisions that people make, we'll ask you what it is you think makes the story a story, assuming I can find what the hell I did with my stories. Crap.
Is it back on the desk?
It might be. Could you take a look? Nope, I got it right here. All right, today you have your choice of one of three stories. We have the wonderful world of drugs. I know, you would think I'd look earlier.
It's just funny.
We have the wonderful world of drugs. We have Animalize This, where you guess the animal responsible for causing the problem. And finally, License to Spill, where you guess the substance that caused the mess. And gentlemen, you will be competing against one another.
Let's go License to Spill. It's been a while.
I say it every time, it's always a cat, never a dog. Always. All right, here is the story. We go to New York State, where a large truck traveling east on Route 17 hit the center median guardrail and overturned, and then spilled its load onto the westbound highway late on a Monday afternoon. Now, as a result, all of the westbound lanes were closed and traffic was diverted back into the highway past the incident. Now, the state police and Sullivan County Sheriff's Office, they assisted with traffic control while cleanup crews spent a few hours, cleaning up, true to their name. The cause of the accident is under investigation, even though they pointed out that it hit the center median guardrail and overturned. Now, the question is, what did the truck spill onto the highway? Was it gasoline, sawdust, chicken eggs, or live chickens? So gasoline, sawdust, chicken eggs, or live chickens, what spilled out of the truck onto the highway, causing the traffic backup?
Well, given that it took them a couple hours to clean it up, I think it was just chicken eggs that were all over the place on the ground. I feel like you could get that cleaned up in short order, but it's going to take you a minute.
The man with the last name Hawk goes with bird eggs.
Damn right.
Mm-hmm. It's just kind of ironic because I feel like you could use sawdust to clean up gas, but also chicken eggs later become whole chickens.
Well, depending, sure. Yes, and millions of hatchlings ended up on the highway.
So my theory, Ted, is if it's gasoline, he hits a median, the thing might explode. So I'm going to go live chickens.
Live chickens. Mike took chicken eggs.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'll go with gas.
Gas for
yes.
Okay. Whoops. Yeah. What spilled all over this highway in New York State? Was it gasoline? Was it sawdust, eggs, or live chickens? We're going to find out next.
That was a tease.
You are listening to The Men's Room.
99.9 KISW. We return to The Men's Room with Miles and Thrill.
Category is a license to spill. Our profile this way in New York State where a truck hit the median and then spilled its load on a busy highway. Took a few hours for them to clean up the mess. Question is, what was spilled? Gasoline, sawdust, eggs, or live chickens?
Yes, indeed. Let us start with our very own Mike Hawk. You went with eggs. It was not eggs, known in Baltimore as eggs. A-I-G-S, eggs. Nita Smith, you went with live chickens.
I did.
No, Miles.
All right, Miles Montgomery, you went with live chickens. Same buzzer.
Yes.
Wrong name. It was not, in fact, live chickens. That leaves you. Nita Smith went with gasoline.
Oh, no. Goodness.
You were just excited as we were all wrong.
I was super excited, and I tried to keep my face together. It was sawdust. Why does it take so long to clean up sawdust?
Grab a leaf blower.
That's my thought, right? It's not going to, like, quote-unquote, pollute the area. Just blow that stuff off to the side of the road and drive through it.
Exactly.
It's sawdust.
Now for all TV news all the time, it's time for TV Time with Ted.
Yeah. And now, because your pathetic life is confined to countless hours in front of a talking box, The Men's Room presents TV Time with Ted.
All right, yours today. You got Seth Meyers.
Okay.
The Jimmys.
Fallon and Kimmel.
Stephen Colbert. Or Ted Smith.
Is it Ted or is it late night?
It is right there. The title. These guys have teams of talented writers help them come up with their monologues each and every night. It is up to you to determine, is this an actual late night joke and from whom, or can it be a The Ted Smith original?
Over the weekend, TikTok shut down in the U.S., then came back 14 hours later. It's like when a kid threatens to run away and spends just one night at a friend's house. For 14 hours, millions of parents were able to see their kids' eyeballs for the first time.
I think it's, Fallon? Colbert.
Fallon.
Over the weekend, TikTok shut down in the U.S., then came back 14 hours later. It's like when a kid threatens to run away and just spends the night at a neighbor's house. It's like, I'm really doing it this time. Yeah, for 14 hours, millions of parents saw their children's eyeballs for the first time.
Did see one person say that the TikTok ban lasted about as long as Aaron Rodgers' first year with the Jets.
Oh, damn. Probably longer. Today was the inauguration of Donald Trump, and there were some serious celebrities, like actors, influencers, and CEOs of tech brands. See that? I now realize all I want in my life is for someone to look at me the way Mark Zuckerberg looks at Lauren Sanchez.
Ted Smith. Hey, Ted Smith.
That was me.
Yeah. Boobs? Are you kidding me?
It's a bra.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm sure it was a bralette.
For some of it. Whatever.
Taco Bell is offering cheesy dipping burritos, which are served with creamy chipotle, nacho cheese sauce, or reduced fat sour cream, for the health nuts.
Fallon. Colbert.
Myers.
Taco Bell has begun offering cheesy dipping burritos, which are served with creamy chipotle, nacho cheese sauce, or reduced fat sour cream, for the health nuts.
Taco Bell, sometimes I don't even know if you got to see their commercials. It's like we did it this weekend. Like, maybe we should order food. It's super late. And I'm just like, what do they have on this menu now?
Just say what it's called. We'll order it.
Yeah. Walgreens CEO Tim Wentworth recently told investors that locking products in cases have resulted in a decrease in sales. Perhaps the most shocking part of the story is that investors were able to find a Walgreens employee.
Fallon?
Myers.
Walgreens CEO Tim Wentworth recently told investors that locking products in cases has resulted in a decrease in sales. Perhaps the most shocking part of that story is that investors were able to find a Walgreens employee.
I'm the other way around. I like buying toothpaste that's done a little time.
Right. Been locked up?
Yeah. And what'd they convict you of, homie? Lord knows you didn't do it.
I spend more time looking at those items and just wondering why. Like, is this a hot ticket item? When I get the Tide Pods, I get all those things that you know about in the news, but now it's even more stuff.
I feel like it's the homeless people in the city. Look, like I said, I've been homeless, and if I can't get food, toothpaste would have been handy. I mean, right? Deodorant would have been handy. Tide Pods and all that. Well, obviously I'm not washing my clothes, but I can sell that as.
Yeah.
It's only tough with just sometimes, like the other day I was in somewhere and I was like, dude, it's Advil. You can't even make meth out of this.
Right. What else am I going to do? I cannot get high. If my headache go away.
Yeah.
Let's see. So some interesting news, just like celebrity-wise and stuff from the inauguration yesterday of Trump. As I said this morning, I guess there was an issue with Carrie Underwood, right? Now they're saying she might have thrown a little hissy fit backstage. She was doing America the Beautiful. There was a technical glitch, all right? So her tracking starts, that it stops.
Right.
You can hear her tell someone, I can just sing it. To be honest, I did not know she had a voice like that.
Oh, my God.
I thought she crushed it.
Well, she can sing her ass off.
But I guess afterwards, she was a little upset about it, blah, blah, blah. The main story is I'm just trying to get to Billy Ray Cyrus, who was also there, who did the opposite of Carrie Underwood. He also had technical difficulties, but he sounds worse than me.
I'm gonna take my horse to the old town road. I'm gonna ride till I can't no more. Y'all can put your hands together now like that. If you encourage them out, keep going.
Is this Marge
They
Simpson?
told me to kill as much time as possible, so does anybody know the words to Achy Breaky Heart while I'm here? I'll try a little bit. Let's see what happens. Hey, is my guitar still on? I think they cut me off.
I mean, it sounds like a dude in the bar that's like, I can do Billy Ray Cyrus. Like, can ya?
I heard Miles was listening to it earlier. I didn't see the video. I just hear it. And I thought, for sure, you're just watching a video of some, like, drunk-ass dude. Honest to God, I thought it was like a drunk dude outside trying to busk for money outside of, like, a New York City subway or something.
Yeah.
And finally, I'm like, what is that? And you're like, That's Billy Ray Cyrus.
Yeah. Well, whatever
Billy Ray Cyrus I am familiar with.
Whatever this is, it spreads like COVID. I mean, it's all over the United States as far as people's throat, whatever the sickness is. I know for a fact I took a COVID test. I did not have COVID. When I was all scratchy, still having the after effects of that. But it's obviously going around. I talked to my mom this weekend. She sounded the same way. It's crazy.
It is. That is also just awful. Your voice is shot and you got to go sing.
Yeah. I mean, like you singing today.
What's that?
I mean, like you singing today.
Yeah, exactly.
You made Mickey Mouse sound like a derelict.
Yeah, well, Mickey's been out there on the. He's been out there for a while. It gets lonely out there on the range for a mouse. I don't know. All right. Now the other big thing that happened over the weekend. Obviously, we had some football. Last night we had the coordination of the college football season, and Ohio State ends up winning and beating Notre Dame
from 33 yards. You miss it, and the Irish have hope. It's good. And Ohio State, national champions. The longest, toughest postseason climb in the history of the sport. And after all that, it's Ohio State together at the mountaintop. Champions of college football.
And still mad about the Michigan game.
Now, here's what they won't tell you is Notre Dame came out, drove the ball down the field, put up a touchdown, and it was pretty much a wrap from there. Like, what was it, 21-7 or 21-8 going into halftime?
Well, something that said the way Notre Dame scored is not the sustainable way to win a game. You can't. Your quarterback can't have 9 rushes for however many yards it was, right?
Right, because that's right. You can't just QB sneak it every time.
And he was beat to S after the first drive. Dude puked. He's bleeding. His chest is heaving up and down. I mean, basically, he carried them in that first drive. Like, unless you have like 18 other quarterbacks on your roster, you're not getting to the game doing this.
Yeah, and look, Ohio State just beat them up. But you got to remember, like, Notre Dame had done their job, right? And who'd they beat? Georgia, right? And you're just like, all right, Notre Dame's got big boys. I mean, they kind of manhandled Georgia, but as you got closer to that game, like even my brother was like, they beat Georgia. Like, they ain't winning this one. And I was like, yeah, they got a chance. He's like, no. And then the only thing I was telling Mike is it kind of sucked. I don't know if it's because the college season took so long to end or because it's the first time they played that game on Martin Luther King Day. But you had the inauguration, like, there just wasn't a lot of juice or energy around that game.
Well, I mean, people are sidetracked, I think, for various reasons yesterday. But I will say what I did like about it is that was 7 beat 8 or 8 beat 7. That's right. Based on the ranking system, they would not have played in the championship. Yeah. I did read today that they're like, hey, the college experts rank Ohio State number 1 and Notre Dame number 2. I'm like, the people that play in the championship game, hey, stay on that, guys.
Last year, he only had 4. What's that?
We could actually watch a 4:30 kickoff. We had the day off.
That was cool.
Yeah, well, I would say last year, too, if you only had 4 teams, like, neither of them would have been in it anyhow.
Nope.
So I think in the end, I mean, hey, you had Michigan last year. It's also wild that I was at that game last year. But between Michigan and Ohio State, I agree. It's like some of you SEC people, like, just shut up, right? Like, the Big Ten obviously has a lot of good schools, especially when you factor into the fact that Michigan and Ohio State are old school Big Ten, but now you got Washington in there, you got Oregon in there, you got SC.
Well, Penn State still showed up.
Penn State made the chair. Yeah, I mean, the Big Ten just had a better showing. And frankly, it's always, they're down there beating up on each other. That's why their records suck. It's also like, well, don't, and listen, I'm biased. My nephew goes to Ole Miss. Like, don't lose to Kentucky at home. That's a 6-win team. And you're talking about getting in the damn playoff. Right? You got
playoffs.
It was also kind of crazy when they were cutting to Lou Holtz. Haven't seen him in a while.
Jeez.
And you just see, that he's...
Did they put him back in the grave?
He's an old man. I mean, he's wearing his 88 hat, which is the year that they won the national championship.
1888.
Beat West Virginia. But, I mean, you could definitely see that, there was time for him to step aside from ESPN. And seeing him there, I was like, yes, he definitely should have stepped aside.
They got to do it with Coach Corso, too. I love Lee Corso, but it was the same thing. Like I'm never a Notre Dame fan. I cheered for him last night, but I always liked Coach Holtz. I never cared for Notre Dame, but there was a certain point where it was like, get him off the TV.
Yeah.
I think we've reached that point with Lee Corso. Like, they only bring him out for like 2 segments. It If you got an hour to sit there and listen to him make 3 points, that's fine. But you're still doing a show. You know what I mean? That's one of those like, hey, Mike, let's go visit. If we're brother, let's go visit Granddad.
That's right. You know what you're getting into. Right. That's the experience you have.
Correct. Then obviously over the weekend, you had some playoff games there happening. Chiefs and the Texans. That ended up being, a 9-point game. It never felt that close.
No. I don't know why. I thought the Chiefs it's like the bigger brother put his hand on the younger brother's forehead.
Yeah.
So the younger brother's throwing all these punches, and it's like, you almost hit me, but you're just not going to.
Well, it was funny because I was down in Portland, too, and we went to this one sports bar. There's all these guys in Houston Rockets gear. So we're kind of making friends with other people, and I'm like, what is with these idiots? Like, you're like, is there no real Texans fans? And then finally this other guy kind of leaned over, he goes, hey, man, the Rockets are in town in Portland playing tonight. And I'm just like, yep, I forgot.
My bad.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm sitting there great roasting. Yeah, right. Look at these losers. Well, and also, when you don't have an NBA team, like, I just forget to look at the damn schedule.
Mm-hmm. I can't even believe Rockets fans travel.
So that game was not that good. Then you had the Commanders and Lions. I mean, I just didn't see that one coming. And look, I grew up, I was a massive Commanders fan. I'm not anymore, but on Saturday I was cheering for them. Mm-hmm. And I really thought they were going to I thought that score would have been flipped. I thought the Lions were going to blow the doors off them. And
really?
It was just the opposite. The Commanders just came out and commanded that game, pun intended, the entire time. Like, I had to leave a bar because there were 60 Lions fans. I didn't want to get in a fight or a tussle.
I'm crossing my fingers on.
Would have been a fight. You're defending yourself at that point, as I understand the story.
I want to see Bills. Correct. I want to see Bills Commanders.
Yeah. All right. So that's right. So then you had the Eagles beat the Rams, and then you had that other good game, the other highlight game of the weekend. Sorry for you two, but that was a fun game to watch.
Awesome game.
Here's the truth of it, man, and I'm glad it worked out this way, is that my son and I, we were trapped in the airport when the game was on, so we just had the Wi-Fi through his phone.
All right.
And then we're on our flight. So basically, our flight was the game. And I said, this is better because, man, every offsides are holding, right? You're going to freak out. We can just look at the score. When we got off the plane, we scored the touchdown and had to get the 2 points. Throws the ball for the 2-point, buffering. And we're like, gee, and I'm not making, we got to wait about 30 seconds, and we just see the look on the Ravens' face. I'm like, they didn't get it. Then they flash the score. They're going to go for the onside, buffering. So now we got to make our other flight. Then my son, I just see him snap the phone shut, shoves it in his bag. I'm like, we didn't get the onside. He goes, no. I said, do you know why? He goes, why? It's like, because it's an onside.
Well, it's almost impossible now
freaking play
that you got to announce it. But right, I was in between stuff on my way up to see our buddy Taryn for her birthday. Happy birthday, Taryn. So me and my buddy were just watching in my house, and it's like, it's just unbelievable because Mark Andrews is so good.
I know,
and like him, of all people, to drop that ball.
And he knows. Yes, and he knows.
But hey, good weekend of football, and we only got 3 games left, boys.
Thank you, Tim. We appreciate it. You're listening to The Men's Room.
Hiring is a lonely business. Posting jobs, sifting through resumes, interviews with unqualified applicants, being ghosted. What if you could link with dozens of qualified candidates who are ready to work right now with just one connection? That's Express Employment Professionals. Find us at expresspros.com. One connection, the workforce you need. Problem solved. Express Employment Professionals. expresspros.com.
Wow.
What's up?
I just bought and financed a car through Carvana in minutes.
You? The person who agonized 4 weeks over whether to paint your walls eggshell or off-white bought and financed a car in minutes?
They made it easy. Transparent terms, customizable down and monthly. Didn't even have to do any paperwork.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Hey, have you checked out that spreadsheet I sent you for our dinner options?
Finance your car with Carvana and experience total control. Financing subject to credit approval.
Look, we're all human. We push-pull doors, we blow on ice cream to cool it down, and sometimes we forget to check our blind spots. That's why the 2025 Hyundai Tucson Hybrid offers class-leading advanced safety features. Like an available blind spot view monitor, which shows you a live video feed of your blind spots. Because the Tucson Hybrid is made for humans who are just that, human. Visit HyundaiUSA.com or call 562-314-4603 for details.
Now, it's time to hit the headlines. Here's my car.
All right, our top story. We go to San Antonio, where someone just can't seem to stay out of trouble. He was picked up by police earlier this week after he got himself into a road rage situation that ended with him pulling out a gun and firing a few shots at the semi-truck driver that rubbed him the wrong way, hitting him in the leg and leading to a crash. When he was apprehended by officers, the story surfaced of when he made some unsettling texts not terribly long ago. He was inadvertently added to a group text as he was using a former number of one of the members of the family on the thread. Oops, Daisy. Saying on. The family, there we go. The family was discussing details of a 9-month-old's upcoming baptism. Our man took things to the next level by texting the group back, quote, "That's a nice Caucasian baby. How much you want?" Damn. Oh. When he was informed that the wrong number was added and blocked, he jumped in with both feet texting, quote, "Are you not interested in selling? I'm willing to start the bid at $500,000. The baby's father called the man to put a stop to the harassment, and the man continued, saying that he buys babies for their organs, and noted that he now knows the location of the church that the baptism would be taking place, as well as the address that the family is at, thanks to information spread on the group text.
Comforting.
An official report was made of the interaction, and charges were filed in that particular instance there.
I hope so.
And he told the police that he thought that it was spam. The group text was spam.
Okay.
And to a degree,
maybe
there's a plausibleness to what he's having to say, but the fact that he continued to double down.
That's where it goes south.
If it's spam, if they're phishing or something like that, they will continue to talk to you and ask you questions and get you to divulge information. When their response is wrong number and then blocked, it ain't spam. You can make a reasonable association that this is not spam. So, yeah, that's fun. In other news, speaking of harvested parts, we go to Brazil, where local crime circuits have found a new weld attack. Authorities in the country are seeing an increase in the number of robberies of slaughterhouses, with all robbers looking for the same thing, cow gallstones.
Why is that?
So apparently the stones are a treasured ingredient in several Chinese medicines, using the finished product to treat stroke victims. I don't know what it is in cattle gallstones that help treat stroke victims, but it's what they're dealing with there. Not to mention they were talking about the increased sodium levels of the food are leading to increased levels of obesity over the country. So they're, for whatever reason, they have found that those gallstones are actually helping.
It's amazing. Most of the time it's just about a guy's penis.
Yeah, no kidding. Cattle gallstones have become so valuable that traders are willing to pay upwards of $6,000 an ounce. Wow. Yeah.
Okay.
Which, of course, caught the attention of local criminals, committing several armed robberies in recent history, with one actually tying up the slaughterhouse owner and his kid so that they could make off with nearly $50,000 worth of stones.
Damn.
Yeah. Kind of the Wild West over there in Brazil right now.
Would not have known that's a thing.
That's insanity.
Right. You think you're good as a slaughterhouse. You know, maybe they'll take some processed meats if they keep them somewhere on site, but the gallstones. And how do you know where to go to find these gallstones?
Who's your contact?
Right. I'm assuming that the gallbladder is ground up for just straight ground beef. I can't imagine that it's being kept for anything in particular. Like, are you rooting through the remnants to find out where these stones are at?
Probably. I would guess.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but now the butcheries will know. Like, dude, put the gallstones to the side.
Right.
Like, there is a lucrative business here.
No kidding, dude. We go to Alabama, where a local barista had a bad day at work. Miles covered this earlier today. Police arrived at a local coffee shop on reports of an animal attack on an employee. The animal had jumped into the store through the drive-thru window and launched an attack on the barista, biting and scratching her until another employee was able to pull it off, at which point the animal jumped back into its owner's car, and they drove off. Didn't even stay there. They drove off. The employee suffered injuries bad enough that warranted stitches and vaccinations, and the owner did finally come back to the shop to check up on the barista, though she declined to give much information in order to protect her pet, the monkey that she had in her car with her at the time, which is one of two, which I didn't catch that in the story.
There's two in there, dude. Don't make it weird.
Criminy. The woman did receive a couple citations for the incident. I like her move that, your monkey jumps into her car, or jumps out of your car into the store, beats the living tar out of this poor woman, bites her, scratches her, leaving her with stitches and vaccinations, and as soon as the monkey gets back in the car, you floor it.
Yeah.
Come on, dude.
I'm out of here.
Why is your monkey in the damn car?
And there was two monkeys.
Right. Why are we taking Bobo to McDonald's here?
At least take responsibility. for your monkey. I think if you do that,
take responsibility for your monkey.
T-shirt I'm working on. But I feel like
Jesus Christ,
if you do that much, you kind of lower the temperature.
Yeah.
You know, like, look, man, I am insanely sorry that my monkey jumped out of the car and attacked you. I did not think it would do that. But instead of flooring it, like, I mean, I'd be like, look, the good news is you have an awesome story.
Or maybe don't have monkeys as a pet.
There's that.
Let's just go ahead and do that.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of things that are questionable as to whether or not they count as pets. You know, I've been very strong in my opinion on what counts as a pet, but at least it's disputable. Monkeys, let's just leave that to the zoo.
Leave them alone.
And if you have one, keep it at home.
Right. If you're going to ignore that, just keep it at home. Don't put it in the car. Oh, he likes being outside. Right. He said
Well, he's a monkey. Of course he does.
But
you know what he hates? Living with your dumbass.
Yeah, that's right. But just in case those stories have a bad taste in your mouth.
Thankfully, there's good news.
You guys know me. I'm a sucker for an animal rescue story. We go to L.A. The wildfires continue to devastate the area, but they also continue to put good people on display. A video is making the rounds of a stable worker who, along with his compatriots, were tasked with transporting several horses from their dangerous home to a safe location about 14 miles away. But as horses can be, one refused to get into the trailer. Not wanting to leave the animal behind, the 16-year-old that was working there continued to coax the animal the entire voyage, whether it was riding, walking, jogging, pulling, or anything in between. He continued to influence the animal until everybody made it to safety. 14 miles this kid just...
God, man.
At that point, it's an honorary stubborn mule. Like, doggone horse, just get in the frickin' truck. Men's Room Sports. Tonight's sports is brought to you by our fine folks at Sports on What. If you have any question on where you can find any of the sports I'm about to mention tonight, download the Sports on What app. They will tell you exactly where you need to go and when to find those sports. But first, a little bit of news. The Major League Baseball Hall of Fame induction announcements aired today, and I am pleased to announce that 99.7% of ballots feature the name of one of our own, a substantial hitter for the Seattle Mariners that joined the league at the late age of 27, amassing a .311 career batting average, 509 stolen bases in 2,653 games, a 10-time All-Star, 3-time Silver Slugger Award winner, and Golden Glove winner. And the first Japanese-born position player for Major League Baseball, the authority of Area 51, ladies and gentlemen, Ichiro Suzuki will have his career cemented in history in the Hall of Fame. Congratulations, boss. Well deserved. As far as what you're going to watch tonight, you've got a couple hockey games on tonight and a whole slew of college basketball games as well. And yet again, you can find where all those games are located with our friends at Sports on What. As far as your weather, the cold nights continue. They expect a very small amount of clouds, but that's not enough to keep it from dropping to 31 tonight. Tomorrow's going to look a lot similar as well. Clear skies and a high right around 44. That is it for your headlines. With that, Mike Hawkins out.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate it. Listen to lovely Jolene for 1 hour tonight for your share of $5K a day. Also, she has the Odyssey World premiere of New Papa Roach coming up at 9.
Yes, indeed. It's all true, but in the meantime, well, we be all about this bitch. So until next time, please do what you do best. And for Aletha's sake, stay beautiful.
The Men's Room has been taped before a live studio audience. Wardrobe and makeup provided by Mantastic Limited. This has been a presentation of the Men's Room Radio Network.
Oh, man!
A Double Flush production.
Auto insurance rates are on the rise, which is why you should call Vern Fonk Insurance. Vern Fonk could save you up to 20% on your auto insurance. The pros at Vern Fonk will do all the work, comparing different plans to find you the best options. And they can insure you over the phone. One call to Vern Fonk could save you up to 20%. Call 206-408-5094. 206-408-5094.
Remember to honk when you drive by Vern Fonk.
Restrictions apply based on a Q3 2023 study of Vern Fonk insurance customers who reported saving when they switched. License number 1070622.
Is your team at work feeling a little disconnected? Maybe the workflow's not flowing? Try Confluence by Atlassian. Confluence is the connected workspace where teams can create, organize, and deliver work like never before. In Confluence, teams can whiteboard their vision for any project, easily create or access the relevant pages and resources they need, and discover important context they might not even know they need. Plus, AI helps teams jumpstart brainstorms, organize information, and connect workflows, so teams can move efficiently and create alignment with ease. In fact, with Confluence, teams can see 5.2% average boost in productivity in 1 year. So if your team lacks confidence, try Confluence, the connected workspace where teams can do it all. Set knowledge free with Confluence. Learn more at Atlassian.com/confluence. That's ATLASSIAN.com/CONFLUENCE.
The brand new Grand Casino and Shoreline is now open. Step into the action with Vegas-style table games like Baccarat, Heads Up Hold'em Poker, Pai Gow, Blackjack, and High Card Flush. Feeling hungry? Feast on delicious Chinese, Vietnamese, and continental dishes plus breakfast favorites. Dine in or take out. And don't miss daily happy hours from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. and 10 p.m. to midnight. Grand Casino and Shoreline off Aurora. Open daily from 9 a.m. to 4 a.m. Visit GrandCasinoGaming.com. Welcome to the Grand Experience.
This podcast is brought to you by Kleenex Lotion Tissues. You can't predict sick days, but with Kleenex Lotion Tissues, you can be better prepared for them while helping keep your skin healthy. Whether it's a surprise sneeze or a stuffy nose, it's always good to have something gentle on hand. Kleenex Lotion Tissues moisturize to help prevent skin irritation while you're battling those unwanted cold and flu symptoms. It's extra care when you need it most. I mean, why not have one less thing to worry about when you're not feeling your best? For whatever happens next, grab Kleenex.
Presented by T-Mobile, the official wireless partner of Odyssey Sports. With an awesome network and great savings, there's never been a better time to join T-Mobile. Visit your neighborhood store to make the switch today.